Major Cider. Calling Major Cider. This is O.R.C.A. We are letting you know that you're going to be late. You'd better get hurry on, or else the captain's going to find out that you took his fighter.
Yeah, I'm on my way. And don't tell Captain S I took his fighter. Well, that's great. Now I'm definitely gonna be late.
For humanity has just begun. Mankind is falling into the grip of Lobos, an organization obsessed with world domination by any means necessary. The only military force strong enough to thwart them is Starfront. A decorated team of war heroes assembled to break the claws of Lobos and stand guard against the threat of human annihilation.
Soaring through the sky, evil Lobos is on the rise. Enemies are drawing near, no holding back, no room for fear. Action! justice on the rise. Heroes stand as one. Guardians at war. Till the battle's won. Starfront. American heroes paving the way. Crushing foes of freedom. Blasting threats away.
I made you listen to the whole thing of one of them, but I'm only going to make you listen to just like a little bit of this one, okay? Because this one's just a tad bit cooler. So imagine if they had SWAT mode.
Starfront ready. SWAT mode. Starfront ready. SWAT mode. Starfront ready. SWAT mode. Starfront ready. SWAT mode. In the night, the stars watch the fight. Engines roar. Fight full throttle.
And here to talk to me about this is Nerdigan. Howdy doody.
Oh, I'm doing good. My little kitty is over here too. Come here. Come say hi, Sano. Come here. Oh, here's the mascot. Hi, kitty. Say hi, kitty.
The 01 mascot, Zeno.
He's my channel's mascot, apparently.
Oh, the channel mascot. Yeah, well, there you go.
He's my channel's mascot. That's what everyone keeps telling me.
So you might be wondering what this Starfront thing is. Well, I got possessed on Monday morning. I had 7 hours of sleep, and I woke up possessed by this. This is what I get for getting a semi-full night's rest. So ever since then, I've just kind of been like chucking out stuff with this property. And I don't really know how to bring it to life. It's a little bit beyond the scope of making a comic book. But I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out while the show's going. But I just woke up wanting to make my own G.I. Joe, and I did. Got the Battle Runners. I got different characters here with their different specialties, just like the G.I. Joe characters. And this music was made by AI, by the way. This is
That's
not a
awesome.
human being. All the music you heard there, even the trailer that was like barely hearable. Yeah, that was all AI.
That's crazy. God, every time I hear like something about AI doing something advanced, I just can't help but think of Deep Raputa, which is a new manga on Manga Plus, and it's about military AI just advancing like further and further, and she's hacking humans, and it's just wild. So like when I see this, I'm like, oh my god, it's becoming a reality.
It's happening faster than we'd like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. You know, it's apparently Elon is going to sue OpenAI. He says that they have found general AI, general intelligence. Sorry, general artificial intelligence, and apparently that's what's up next. I guess is we're gonna find out what Elon thinks is general artificial intelligence.
That's gonna be very tricky to do. How are you gonna like the AI is just gonna train and then sue him back?
Yeah, right. AI lawyer sued you. Well, speaking of stupid corporate stuff that's going on, we do have this. The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League character artist confirms industry bias against attractive female characters and says, quote, "It's very difficult to pitch beautiful or vain black women in games without them coming out looking like grocery store aunties."
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that today, and then I saw him compare Western and Japanese
Yeah. That was painful.
artists. Yeah,
Well, and that's kind of where we're at now, is that like even the corporations can't like have beautiful women. Do you remember when we were growing up, Nerdigans, everyone was raging about the sexualization of women and how they're just too
oh
pretty
god,
and
yeah.
things.
I remember like it was always some Karens that were doing it and the feminists that were doing it. And I remember a lot of it was towards Mortal Kombat, and it was Grand Theft Auto. It was always happening towards.
Yep.
And Mortal Kombat, this is why Mortal Kombat 1 really frustrates me, especially because Mortal Kombat just ignored it. Like they just ignored it and just did it anyway. They didn't care. And
For a while.
For a while, like up until Mortal Kombat, what, 11?
Mortal Kombat 1.
Up until Mortal Kombat 11, they like kind of started.
Oh, they uggoed. Yeah, they uggoed the ninja girls. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Mortal Kombat 9 was when it really peaked. In terms of like the sexiness. But yeah, like usually they just didn't care. They fought against it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just so weird to see this now. Well, obviously with Bayonetta, that was one. And then you have the whole thing with 2B and everything. It's just so insane, this hatred. And I just think it's hilarious that feminists are doing this in particular. It's like, dude, do you not remember what the feminist movement was about? It was about female liberation. And now you're going against what the foremothers were fighting for. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, and this is what Dale Walker is kind of echoing with his tweet here. He says, there's been a handful of times I've pitched black women characters that look like this. We'll show you in just a second. That after 10 iterations of concept or model comes back without any speck of original beauty that was pitched. So you'll see that this character went through. Apparently, this is a digital character or a pre-rendered character. And, this is an attractive female. That you'd probably give the time of day to. And then this apparently is what he got back.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. And, he says there's room for both. And I just want to say, no, there isn't. No, there is not room for both. Video games are escapism. If there's an Uggo in there, the Uggo's the baddie. That's how it works.
Like, if I were that black woman, I would be insulted that they did that.
I don't think she's real. That's the thing.
No, I'm saying if she was real, though.
Oh, yeah.
If she was real, I would be so insulted.
Yeah, RJ McReady says it's like his idea went to college. Yep.
His idea went to college. Bro, yep. even if I'm surprised he isn't insulted as an artist that they did that to her, to his creation. I would be furious.
Well, again, like you said, after 10 iterations, it comes back without any speck of beauty to it. And he's right. He's right. This has no beauty. It's like Urkel in drag. Not even in drag. It's just Urkel wearing purple glasses. Did I do that? Yes, you ruined the concept art. Good job. But that's what they're doing is they you had someone legitimately pitch an attractive female character here. And then the corporation, in order to meet the BlackRock DEI requirements, decided that Urkel would be a proper expression of this character. And it's no surprise when you go in and you take a look at just who got chucked into. So there's more who got chucked into the replies here, the quote tweets. They write, dude, a friend of mine, an Asian woman, was just telling me about how this happens to her when she designs Asian women for Western games. They always have her work redesigned by a Western artist who look more stereotypical than pat themselves on the back for a good representation.
I thought it was about not being stereotypical, like.
Well, we'll get into that a little later, but that's like Yasuke getting hip hop music behind him, despite being born and alive and dead 200 years before the United States was a thing, let alone hip hop. There's more replies here, and this Loish says, I think that's why I really loved Saga in Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2. Her actress and character model were both beautiful and soft in a way I hadn't seen for a while in games. Yeah, you wouldn't expect it, but it's a strange thing that's happening right now. Like you brought it up earlier with the Zelda game and how people are kind of missing the target on that female characters aren't the problem. It's these girl boss Urkel looking weirdos like this one up here over on this side that are the problem. Nobody wants to be these characters. It's escapism. Who sits there and be like, I want to be Urkel in sunglasses that pretends to be a woman in space? That seems that's me.
Well, what I've said this on Bounding in many places before. What's the problem is you have these insecure Karens that are running this stuff. And they want to see themselves in games. They don't want to see women that look better than them. That's how us women are. We don't like seeing women that are prettier than us. majority of us that play games, that's not true. We like playing characters that are beautiful, more pretty than or prettier than us because it's a fantasy. We like playing as strong female characters. We don't want them to look like us. And
Right,
part of
that's
that
the power of
fantasy is
fantasy.
that's a power fantasy. We want to see a fantasy like the epitome of what a woman is. We don't want to see a regular person play as a regular person, but these Karens don't. They want to put their fantasy in there, like what their version of a perfect woman is, or which is themselves. And they want us women to strive to that, which is not what we want. But they don't get it.
Gross. It's
It is
gross
really
to do that because like we have a meme here. It's like Barbie versus He-Man, and we'll just bring that up here in just a second, as soon as I can get.
But yeah, but you notice everyone notices that the men are fine. Well, that's because these women want to get with the men, and they just want women to look like frumpy, ugly ass women that are on their level, so that or even uglier than them, so they can get with the men.
I'm going to find whoever makes these teeny tiny little thumbnails, and I'm going to strangle them, probably in front of their family. This is horrible. Who does this? Like, who sets it out and they're like, I'm going to make a teeny tiny little thumbnail and make it look like it's 1,000 by 1,000. Well, it's best I could do, guys. When I try, Google's hiding memes. If you don't know, I can't prove it yet. But when I go looking for memes, they are decreasing in responses on Google Images. Let's put it that way. But here you have Barbie. Now, this toy, as we've learned in the movie, was supposed to be a vehicle for young girls to see themselves through, which is why there's a Barbie for every demographic that was out there. Now, meanwhile, here's He-Man. You know, and again, like we just saw this with the Sun Wukong trailer that came out, the Black Myth Wukong trailer that just came out. The men around the world are like, that's me, the Monkey King, right? But meanwhile, on the other end, the women have to have these uggos in order to feel like they belong in video games, that they're playing themselves, right? And this is the funniest thing to me is like, they'll tell us that you need to have representation like this in a video game. Like you need to have all this different demographic representation, like making Deadshot a black guy just inexplicably. He's just a black guy now. No rhyme or reason. He just is. And you have that kind of happen. Meanwhile, every demographic on the planet, as far as men go, has at least a passing respect for Goku and Dragon Ball. Mm-hmm. And about 90% of those guys don't look a damn thing like Goku. So it's pretty interesting, in my opinion. But on the topic of interesting things that might catch your attention, Doctor Who goes into the red here with the worst overnight numbers in the franchise's history.
The Acolyte might beat it at this point.
It's racing, that's for sure. This last episode was another mess. We'll get into that later in the show, but for right now, this is a pretty big situation. You got Shooty Gatwa here reacting to the to the numbers. But it's true. This is the worst in franchise history. And we'll just skip down to the numbers here so we can get into it. So the Space Babies episode was number 1. We'll just ignore the Christmas special and stuff because that's not part of what we're actually paying attention to here. This is the new season that involves Shooty Gatwa, the first black gay doctor, if you will. And it started off with 2.6 million overnight views. Now, that's pretty low. Tucker Carlson gets 2.6 million views in the first 2 minutes of posting on X. They would be better served just putting this up on Twitter blindly, and they'd probably get more views on it. And we're only paying attention to the overnight right now, and I'll explain why in just a minute. The Devil's Cord, that's where the Maestro came from, where Jinx Monsoon that told everybody that didn't like it that they should go away. Apparently they did, because in the very next episode, there was only 2.4 million. Then it jumped up in the 73 yards. Now this episode, episode 4, was when there was no doctor. When Shooty Gatwa was out of the episode almost completely. That's when these ratings jumped up. And then Dot and Bubble came around, and the audience was like, oh, that's why I don't like this show, and stepped out in pretty large numbers. Then Rogue with 2.11 million, and then it went through the floor with the Legend of Ruby Tuesday. Excuse me, Sunday. Ruby Tuesday's a restaurant. But 2.2 million. 2.2 million back at the Devil's Cord again. So this is what they're excuse me 2.0. It's even less than that. Excuse me. It's
Yeah.
2.02. My apologies. It's another decimal point over. The problem with this is, right? So this is the dedicated fan base that is turning out for new episodes as soon as they drop or the day that they drop. That's why the overnight numbers are what I'm paying attention to. And what this is demonstrating is that there isn't a fan base for Doctor Who. And what is left is dwindling by the hundreds of thousands every time they post a new episode.
Yeah. Doctor Who is dying, and I don't know if they should have just listened to the fans at this point, but they didn't because they want to pander to a non-existent audience. It's the same with Star Wars. They're trying to pander to a non-existent audience, and they're like tripling down.
Yep. Well, again, it's the BlackRock funding that makes this all necessary. They've got to lie through their teeth about what they're doing because BlackRock demands that they meet a certain demographic inside of their creations, and now apparently inside of the creative process itself. But Russell T Davies had this to say about the abysmal numbers and how they continue to keep falling. He says, "I'm very proud of it, you know. They might not be the ratings we'd love, but we always want higher. But they're building over a 28-day period. Episode 1, Space Babies, is already up to 5.6 million and counting. So it's getting there." And he says, he goes on and he says this. He wants to bring in the under 30 crowd. He says, "I was brought back for a youthful audience. It's been massively successful. The audience no one ever gets is the under 30s crowd. They just want to watch. They just don't watch television anymore. But those figures are astronomical for Doctor Who. It's their top program in that bracket." Well, I really wish we knew who these 5 people who were tuning in that are making up the majority of Doctor Who's audience that are under 30. Because if that's the leading number, Russell T Davies, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, because under 30 crowd is mainly on TikTok or YouTube or even watching stuff on Twitter. Like, I haven't seen that much stuff about Doctor Who on Twitter, to be honest, unless it's bashing it.
Yeah,
They're
that's
probably
it.
on
That's all
TikTok,
that's
if anything.
Yep. Well,
But
if there
TikTok
is anything about it, but there isn't, you know?
TikTok is just pure cancer and brain rot at this point. I will never ever go on that app.
Well, you know, it's cancel culture in its like purest form, and we do have a bit of breaking news thanks to Spencer Pakuli here, cranking out the news as we're talking about it. Doctor Who actress Alex Kingston decries cancel culture, says, "I don't think people realize how dangerous canceling people is."
Here's the thing with the I don't give it power because I don't believe in it. I don't give it power at all. That's why I try not to say cancel culture as much as possible. I don't give that shit power. I don't give it the time of day. And yeah, if you don't give something power, then it'll fade away. Like, I don't understand how hard of a concept this is. You keep giving these motherfuckers power. That's why it keeps happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and here we go. This is what she says about it. Now, pay attention. This is probably the last interview that she's going to get to do. They're going to end her from going forward right here. It says, "Cancel culture is terrifying. Sort of fascistic, really. I don't think people realize how dangerous canceling people is and what that has meant historically."
That's because you keep giving it power. Stop giving it power.
Well, and
Stop
she
doing
goes
that.
on. She goes on and says that, actually. She says, "My generation is treading on eggshells, not knowing whether or what you can say will unintentionally hurt somebody. I get really confused about pronouns, for instance. I'm just not confident with how and when to use them.
Oh my
There is no
God.
empathy or sympathy. Opinions are immediate and black and white. I hope we'll start coming back to a place where people can be kinder to each other, both in thinking about what they're going to say and hearing what's being said." And that's it. That's probably the
can
last time
totally
you can hear from
understand
Alex
that.
Kingston.
I can understand that because if you follow me on Twitter, you know I've been getting a lot of shit from both sides or both flocks because it's like,
Yeah, you got blocked by
flocks.
Grumps.
Well, I got blocked by him, but I get like shit from both flocks of sheep all the time, and like people are like, like, how are you getting this? I'm like, it's because I have an opinion. I don't care about anything. I don't care about either side. I'm only on my own side. And if you've got a problem with it, you just have to deal with it. I've been called everything. I've been called a Nazi. I've been called woke. I've been called anti-woke. I've been called a Democrat. I've been called a Republican. I've been called everything. And well, I'm a Jew, so both of these blocks hate me anyway. So I'm just like, what's the point? Why should I care? Why should I care what these people want me to, what these people think? Like, I just, that's why I'm just like, I honestly don't care. And I'm just going to say what I want. As long as it's within terms of service. I'm not going to violate terms of service because that is a contract that I agreed to by signing up for Twitter. So that's the only thing. But other than that.
So she goes on to say this, though, is that she says, sometimes if you want to be historically accurate, you've got to face the reality of what that would have meant in casting terms. She's talking about Ncuti Gatwa going around as the Black Doctor and nobody really saying anything about that. People should be allowed to explore roles they would not have been able to explore before, but also not be deprived of roles or even of writing roles because they don't actually physically apply to them. We need a sensible, fertile middle ground.
Yeah,
And,
we do. It's not going to happen because people are stupid. We've regressed back to like pre-civil rights movement. That's what it feels like to me.
The eccentric banana says, "You go, nerdigans."
Well, yeah, I gotta thank my late significant other for kind of pushing me and to have my own opinion. Because he was like that too, and he got a lot of crap for having his own opinion as well. So, but
Yeah, it is tribalism. That's correct.
It is. It really is tribalism, and the people have lost sight that there is a gray area. Whereas, like when we were growing up, and hell, even though there was a little bit of a divide, I mean, we still saw a gray area, and we were still willing to, you know, come together when there was a crisis. Like, I mean, look at what happened with 9/11. Despite our differences, everyone in the country came together and united. Then you have like something like what we saw with October 7th, and then you have everyone like divided and like you have the worst anti-Semitism that's been happening. And my people on the other hand, like we're mostly uniting, but like then you have like the younger generation, which are like some of them are just clueless and don't understand what's going on thanks to TikTok and are getting brainwashed, and they don't know any better. I'm just like looking at them like, what's going on with you? But it's just wild. I can't believe some of the stuff that's happening here right now compared to back when we were growing up. I feel like part of it is parenting, the lack of parenting, and also the lack of education, because our education was a lot better back in the back in the 80s and the 90s. It was a lot.
What a miserable idea.
Better.
Oh, that's just depressing to think.
It is very depressing.
Superior education. Oh no.
Yeah,
that's awful.
It's really crazy. It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's rough.
Especially since, you know what makes it even sadder is we have the largest database at our fingertips with the internet, which we did not have back then. Well, at least up until at least for me anyway, until like the late 90s. And you have people dumber than ever. It baffles me.
Somehow, with a literal question and answer machine in our pockets, we just stopped being curious. We wanted to see people fail army and cats puke on themselves, you know? So, and that's just what humanity devolved into, was cat videos and watching a dude getting kicked in the nuts repeatedly. Oh, it's Idiocracy. It literally, I can't wait for the monster truck execution. Isn't it? That was my favorite part, was the monster truck executions where Kevin Sorbo is in charge of executing people in a monster truck. That was great. That's a documentary now.
It really is. Yeah. Just like Mean Girls is a straight up documentary. Like Idiocracy is really, it's really become one too. It's freaking scary.
So, Miss Kingston has this to say. Now, this is quite telling. She closes out the interview by saying, "I'm behind on Shooty in the whole world of Disney Plus." So I'll remind you, she is the Doctor's wife. This is a character that if they wanted to do Ain't No Need No Man strong female lead, they could have done. Every Doctor that she encounters is still alive, and they could have done a spin-off show of her meeting them in a couple of episodes, but the rest of the time she's on the run from the various space authorities that she's outrunning in her current time period that she's in. So they could have done that. But obviously, she didn't have the right politics. Because if you listen to this sentence, it's that I'm behind on Shooty and the whole new world of Disney Plus, which means BBC has had nothing to do with her since since the end of Capaldi, when she was separated from him. So that's that.
Well,
So
she's not the right type of diversity, I guess.
Well, she has the wrong politics. That's her thing. She has the wrong politics for them. She's not paying attention to Shooty, which means she's not obsessed with virtue signaling. She doesn't know about Disney Plus because BBC's not bringing her back. Now, again, she's the Doctor's wife. They could have done this Rey Skywalker thing with her, where she's going around and teaching people like Jack Harkness how to travel through time. And she's got her own, you could call it River Song and the Time Traveler Brigade. You could call it that. And that's the whole series is about her going around before she ends up trapped in the library. And that's how she ends up at the library, is she's traveling around with this team and they're solving problems together,
But they don't have that kind of thinking going on right now because they're drunk on too much Kool-Aid.
Yeah, the purple drank, that's for sure. Rainbow drank, that's what it is. Rainbow drank.
Yeah, the tropical punch.
Yeah.
Or no, it'd be the fruit punch, excuse me. It's the fruit punch. The fruit punch Kool-Aid.
See, I have a problem with the River Song character, Leslie Tarkin, is that I don't want the Doctor to be romantic. I like the Doctor when he's got female companions and they're just pals. They're not doing anything. I didn't like it when Amy Pond tried to get up on Matt Smith's Doctor. That made me very uncomfortable. The best moment, I think, was when Donna Noble and the Doctor were arguing in an alleyway and the Doctor says, "I'm looking for a mate." And Donna perceives it in the scientific manner and she goes, "A mate?" Like she's being proposed to have sex with this alien in his blue box. And he says, "Yeah, a mate." And then it clicks up to her head that he's asking for a friend, not a breeding partner. And I think that's like the Doctor's attitude at its best. And so River Song being the wife of the Doctor just kind of, I don't know, it just steals the magic out of the guy when he's like, "Oh, yeah, I can't help you. My wife has a headache. I'd love to be able to help you, Jack Harkness, with the collapse of the time continuity, but my wife needs her feet rubbed." And I don't like it. I just wish the Doctor was just a guy. He's just a swinging bachelor that doesn't date anybody. That's
it's
fine.
Supposed to be like a James Bond kind of thing.
Sure. He's an adventurer, If you want a family dynamic, read Tom Strong. That'll give you all the Doctor Who-iness plus a family.
You're asking people to read. That is a problem.
It's Doctor Who fans.
People don't read books nowadays. Which is
see,
sad. That's another problem. That's why people are stupid. They don't read books anymore.
Yep.
Some of them read manga. People read more manga. That would be great because you learn a lot from manga. But
member of the channel, Referral Arvita says Missy was an incredible master. Yeah, well, that made sense for her for him to go through that transformation because of all the crazy stuff that had happened to him. The Master, before even the encounter with the 10th Doctor, when he was reintroduced to the franchise, the Master had done terrible things to his body in order to compete or overthrow the Doctor. And so the Missy being one of the regenerations followed, because he'd done so much experimentation on his DNA, on his physical being, that and of course he was resurrected too, like twice. So, and then he had like lightning powers for a minute there. That was weird. But
reading is racist.
Yeah, reading is racist. Yeah, that's true. Math is racist. Might as well make reading too. But yeah, the Master turning into Missy made sense. The Doctor turning into Jodie Whittaker did not. The Doctor did not tamper with his DNA. The Doctor did not tamper with his regenerations. So Yeah, that one annoyed me, and I'm glad that they decided not to follow that up with another lady. So
Well, like, here's the thing in terms of regeneration, because I've been seeing this in a few series now. Like, you could make it work in terms of gender, but you have to do it right. In terms of like, if you're going to go for a yin yang motif, because each soul has like a female and male part of their soul. So if you're going to go with a transition in terms of regeneration or reincarnation or whatever, it just has to be executed right. And it doesn't sound like Doctor Who did that correctly. That's what it seems like to me.
and they stopped, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
eccentric banana says DN gay. Yep, you're right. DN gay, that's for sure. Nailed it. The we do have some good news though, if you're a Spider-Man fan. I know Spencer will be happy about this. We unfortunately have a lot to talk about in the main show tonight, so we'll be bringing that up here. Maybe Spencer wants to slide in before we get going at the 9 o'clock. But here's the good news, everybody. Marvel Comics has finally announced that Zeb Wells is getting off the Amazing Spider-Man run.
Oh, I know. I know X-Men fans were already happy about the Krakoan age coming to an end, and now this is happening with Spider-Man. Like, Marvel comic fans are just winning right now.
Well, we'll find out what they follow this with, okay? Before we say we're winning, but you know, this the Zeb Wells run was the one where Peter was subservient to another man who had fallen in love and impregnated Mary Jane. So, and this was the Spider-Cuck saga, if you will, Spider-Cuck saga, and it's over with now. It's over with. So I'm trying to. Yeah, this is the one that had the weirdest. This is the Kingpin still. Yeah, I think this is the Kingpin where he's like some otherworldly creature. I think
that is weird.
Is this Spider-Man? Tombstone. Sorry, that's Tombstone. That's not.
Okay, I was gonna be like, yeah, that doesn't look like Kingpin.
No, I saw a bald, pale guy, and I was like, yeah, that must be Kingpin. But yeah, this one was a strange one where Peter was also working for Norman Osborn. So it was just basically like Peter's worst nightmare, the comic book, and it's over. It's over.
So maybe Marvel will do something better, and their comic sales will go back up.
And
I don't know if it's too late or not, though. I don't know. I've heard good things about the alternate universe Spider-Man series where he actually is happy and has a family.
Yes, and speaking of alternate universes and different settings, we do have a announcement that happened earlier today. We have the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. Now, you may notice some interesting figures that are involved with this. I don't mean like action figures. You may notice that they have the Children of the Atom. This was the sorry, I didn't have it brought up. This was the Vita Ayala attempt at soft rebooting the X-Men by just giving children their powers. And that was that.
Yeah.
So you'll have the Marvel Super Soldier as superheroes will be part of this. X-Men versus Street Fighter will be part of this. Marvel superheroes. So they're going back, and the Punisher will be visited in this. So basically, you're going to be able to play all of these in one housing, if you will. And I don't know. I'm not excited about seeing Children of the Atom in here. It sounds to me like there's going to be some side plot about the male characters learning to respect the female characters.
I heard there was going to be some characters left out too that people really liked. I don't remember off the top of my head which ones they were.
Well, let's take a look. Oh, they're going with the new Guile. Not Guile. Yeah, Guile. Guile's a Street Fighter. Yeah, they're going with the new Guile. You see the new Guile all the way over there. Yeah, I'm not down with that. I miss Guile's crazy helicopter hair. And they put Thanos, and he's got the Infinity Gauntlet, so I don't know why anybody's trying to fight him. Maybe Bison. Oh, wait, there's Doctor Doom up there too. So you got Doom, Thanos. Bison's apparently going to try something with them. Okay, I
Oh,
don't. That seems ill-advised.
Spencer's in the chat saying that it's not Guile, that's Captain Commando.
That's
that you're
Captain
looking at.
Commando. Oh, I'm
And then
sorry.
Children of the Atom is the original X-Men fighter.
What? That's a comic book line. Vita Ayala ripped. They couldn't even come up with a new name for their stupid comic book line. They had to rip it from a Capcom video game. Oh my goodness. It is a dark day in Marvel, right? Where you've got to reach to the Japanese and be like, can I copy your homework? That's awful. That is awful.
Yep,
Wow.
Vita just ripped it. Yep, that's what
Wow.
Spencer confirmed it in the chat.
But the coolest thing about this, and we can get up on it here. Let's get a little closer in on these. This is funny to me. Morrigan is trying to hit on Spidey. Oh,
Yeah, people are starting to like make R34 art of it.
Oh, great. Well, we're not going to show that here, but
No.
if you want to Google that on your own time, I can't stop you. And then, of course, you've got Psylocke and Chung-Li that are
Chung-Li
looking to
looks
be
so
besties.
cute. Oh my god, I love
Yeah.
her face. She looks adorable.
So there are these interesting touches here, and apparently Cyclops is excited about punching Ryu in the face.
Ryu looks good here too. I really like the
Yeah.
art style for the faces. They look nice.
Well, again, it's obviously done by a Japanese artist, so someone who probably legitimately has a passion for this property was in charge of this piece, right?
Oh, Captain America looks good too.
Yeah, I would say he looks a little soft, but I appreciate what they were trying to do to make him look different from Captain Commando. So they wanted to make sure that the jaw lines didn't look the same, so it didn't look like the same guy wearing the costume.
Oh, there's Mega Man too, or Rockman if for the Japanese.
Yep, and they're bringing back his original enemy, the woman character, the secondary enemy, the woman character. I forget her. See?
Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Dr. Wily. It's the woman
No.
character, and she has a little Lego men minions. I forget her name. Does anybody remember? Oh wait, that's Shinobi. That's the guy. That's Ninja Man that runs around and beats the pants. Gaiden. That's Ninja Gaiden guy. Up there, right? That's Ninja Gaiden guy.
I'm trying to remember his name.
We'll zoom
Oh, there
in
it is.
on him
Strider
here.
Hear You. There you go.
What's that?
Strider Hear You.
Yeah, it's Strider. Yeah. Strider. So that's cool that they're putting Strider into this. That's a very different idea. You got Strider up against Nightcrawler. That'd be an interesting fight. That's not it's Ryu Hayabusa? Okay. It's Ryu Hayabusa. We have a fight in the chat. So yeah, we have a fight in the chat.
If that's Strider Hear You.
Mega Man's going to be in this. So that's great. So you're going to have a lot of laser fire in this. Apparently, a lot of energy projection attacks are being brought up here because that's basically what Doctor Doom's power is energy attacks.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it is.
Storm is summoning ice.
Yeah, it's
Look,
Strider
Storm
Hear
is
You.
summoning ice.
Yeah, Spencer's is shutting down the argument. It's Strider Hear You because Ryu is from Koei Tecmo.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it is Strider because Strider is a Capcom character. That's right.
Yeah, but something I really would love to see come back, but I don't know if we'll get it. It came out for the PS3 was the Marvel vs. Capcom arcade sticks. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
Those were so sick. I remember when they came. I was working at GameStop at the time when they came in, and they were just amazing to look at. And I went to look up how much they were going for. I think it was like either on Amazon or eBay. They are going for a lot. Like you can't get them anymore.
So they're bringing back some of Storm's finishers, is what Spencer's showing me in the chat. So, yeah. So there's going to be a lot of energy projection in this story because Psylocke, that's basically her power.
Yeah.
So you've got
And
Zangief
I
and
saw Venom
Captain.
in there too, so Venom's going to be back as well.
Right. So, you got Venom, Zangief, and Captain America and Beast that are your like kinetic fighters with Chun-Li, and I don't think Captain Commando has an energy projection attack. But that's an interesting thing because there's a lot of laser guns now present in this, and that I don't know if that helps things, but the Japanese know how to do game balancing better than the West does, so I'll leave it to them. They'll figure it out.
Oh, Spencer said Commando shoots fire from his wrist
Right.
gauntlet.
So that'll be another energy projection attack. So there's only going to be a few straight melee characters in this. Most everybody else is going to be a projected range attacks, is what it looks like. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out what they do for fighting stages to try and balance this out. Maybe they'll put like obstacles between you and what you're trying to eye blast. But I'm trying to find the Zelda announcement.
Oh, there's also with Zelda, people have been getting all pissy about Zelda's art style, and that really bugs me because I know what they're doing with it. They're trying to do a throwback to the Game Boy Advance era of Zelda. If you played like Minish Cap, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's like the art style from Minish Cap, and I love it.
Well, they're meant to be adorable.
And they
this
are
game
cute.
this game is clearly meant for like 5 to 11-year-olds. It's not meant to be anything that's like Tears of the Kingdom, where it's got like very
I don't know.
difficult.
If you've played Minish Cap was really hard. That's
Well,
why I'm like, I can't say that this will be an easy game. Like for
no, that's not
like
what I mean. In the sense of like it's easy as in like simple, right? What I mean is that like for children, it won't have a deep plot line with interconnecting politics and a violent history.
Oh yeah, if you're talking about just like plot wise, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about puzzle wise and level wise, no. Minish Cap was hard.
Yeah, I expect this to be as challenging as any other Legend of Zelda game before it, but what I expect it to be is to be very light on dramatics, if you will.
But I'm really hoping for this one though. I really hope that we get to see Zelda transform into Sheik because I really want some Sheik levels. That's the one thing I want that's the one thing I know a lot of Zelda fans want is some levels where you get to play as Sheik.
Well, and we've got Caffeinated Wolf in the chat, and he says, I'm genuinely looking forward to this game, even if I want Twilight Princess more. So there's a discussion online today that people were saying like they don't have a problem with this one, like Caffeinated Wolf says, but they would have preferred if Zelda's story, that her solo game was about her being Sheik in the time that that Link was locked away, and so she had to be Sheik and protect Hyrule while he was absent. Now, I don't mind that, but I know why they didn't do it, because that's too far down the girl boss line.
Yeah.
This is still a girl. Zelda's not wielding a sword. She does not have Link's costume on. In fact, Link is right there in the background, and he's obviously going to be fighting Ganon. It's not going to be her. She'll be the support and casting spells to weaken Ganon, most likely. But Link will be the main and like combatant there.
Yeah.
And it's obvious just from the advertisement. We can't show the trailer here because Nintendo's very
Nintendo is very stingy.
Touchy. Yeah, they're very touchy about that. But you can trust that it's adorable and that it's cute. You can check it out on your own time about this. But I really don't like the concept that every girl in games is bad. We saw this with Stellar Blade.
I think it's very misogynistic and very bigoted to say that every girl, a game with a female lead is, especially nowadays, is bad. And no, in terms of as having a female, a Zelda a Zelda-led game like this, this is what Zelda fans have wanted for a long time. We want a game like this. I just would like to see, or I'm just hoping that we'll see levels where we get to play as Sheik and have kind of like a Metal Gear Solid kind of thing where where you have to be stealth and
She's sneaking around in a barrel.
yeah,
She's got a
like
barrel.
or like have like some stealth levels and play as Sheik. That's what I know a lot of fans want. It's just like a good balance of playing as Zelda and as Sheik. That's what a lot of Zelda fans want. But like seeing people say that this is girl boss, this is woke, this is DEI, it's like, no, you haven't played Zelda if you think that that's the case. And it was the same thing with the Princess Peach game. It's like, you are not a Mario fan if you are saying that this is woke, this is girl boss or whatever. No, this is something Mario fans want. We've wanted this.
I think it pushes it a little bit with Peach, but only because she's not typically depicted as showboating. It's only been the past couple of Mario Kart and party games that she's been really.
Well, there was a
showboaty.
Peach-like game on the DS.
Yes. Yep. She's not. It's not her first solo game.
It's not her first solo game.
But I think her showing off is a little much. I don't know. But there again, we don't know much about Peach. Like Mario, she's just a character in the story. She doesn't have an extended background purpose.
Yeah, and that's why you could do
so
much with her. But then like I just think about what the differences between Peach's character in the Japanese version of the Mario Brothers movie and the American version. That's right, kitties. The Japanese version doesn't have her as as much of a girl boss as the global version. So it's like you have to wonder if the writing in Nintendo of America's version is different than the Japanese version of the Peach game, where she comes off less as a girl boss in the Japanese game. So it depends. You got to look at some of these factors too.
Yeah, well, and we'll be seeing the Princess Peach solo game coming. I believe that's Peach Showtime. It's later this. It's already out.
Yeah, it's been out.
Yeah. Okay. There it is.
People
right
like the game. People have said the game is good.
Yeah, no, the mechanics are fine with it. Her attitude's different from me than how I expected, and so it's just not my.
That's why I brought up the Mario Brothers movie. I'm like, I just have a feeling that it might have to do with the localization.
Sure. Again, that's not a bad thing, and the Zelda game isn't a bad thing. I think that this Zelda game is a very smart decision. I really don't see the harm in it. I'm not one.
No, I don't think it's harmful at all. I think people are overreacting because of all the dumbass shit that's come out in the West.
Well, it's easy to, especially because a lot of people's argument is that Legend of Zelda is about Link saving the day. And 9 times out of 10, that's the truth. So I can't argue with them feeling like they swapped out the male lead, which is, it's easy to interpret that, but I think that's the shortest route, right? It's not the actual situation. It's just I see this, there's a female character where a male character should be, this is woke.
Yeah. They're not looking at the bigger picture.
Right. And
it's
yet
the very black and white mentality.
Well, and the same people that had these opinions, though, didn't have them about Stellar Blade. So I don't quite get why Eve is immune, but Zelda isn't. But maybe it's because Eve didn't have a male character that preceded her in her franchise. And I guess, but again, like, Zelda is not a damsel in distress.
No,
the majority of the time.
Zelda wasn't a damsel in distress, especially like in Ocarina of Time. She was moving and doing her own thing as Sheik, too, trying to do her part.
Unlike Peach, she's not a princess in a castle. Sometimes Zelda is at the boss battle with you. When you free her from the spell that Ganon has locked her in the last half of the game, because she's been active throughout the rest of it. Once she's freed, she becomes a support character for you. And so she's never been like a damsel in distress, useless kind of character. Even in the original one, she was a sorceress, right? And Ganon just overpowered her, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think that's how he captured her, was he just overpowered her. He didn't just show up like Bowser and like, you're coming with me.
Yeah, I think that's how it's always been, is that in every game, Zelda has always been overpowered.
It's-
The support character could never hit the light arrow when you need her to.
yeah, yeah. Reminds me of the wagon that was on fire that Aaron from Game Grumps couldn't hit, and he just started screaming and yelling at the game. But
yeah, a lot of Zelda fans are like, yeah, a lot of people that are whining about this and saying this is girl boss and woke and stuff like that. The majority of them are tourists that have never played a Zelda game.
well, it's easy to look at where male character was and say there's a female character now. This is woke, and I think that's what a lot of people interpreted out of that. So I can't really blame them. It is a pretty abrupt shift. Whereas maybe a game that wasn't titled Legend of Zelda, maybe Zelda's Adventure, Zelda, a link lost in time, that kind of thing. That
Yeah.
maybe would have been a little different for him. But it seems to be the two hitter here of it's a Legend of Zelda game and Link isn't the hero visually, the hero. So
Yeah.
that I think that's what gets them there. And you're right. They just it's just not people that are used to the game. They're perceiving like I remember Link being the leader of these games. Why is there a girl there now? Oh, it must be woke.
Yeah, and it makes them come off as very sexist.
Yeah, there you go. Zelda, the Lost Link. That would be a fun little tale for this one, especially with the art style. But Hypnotic had this to say about it, and Hypnotic is a friend of the FNT over here on the right of center pop culture crew. And he says, woke would be if Zelda wore a green point cap and green shirt, ran around with the Master Sword and shield, and said the weapons look better now that a woman is carrying them.
That's true.
Zelda running around Hyrule doing what she's always done is not woke. She's been respected by the developers and is given a story that is the feature, which is what some fans have wanted for a long time.
Yeah.
They did it right. Zelda is also more prominent in the manga in some
Which
ways
is
too,
true.
for those that read it.
Yep.
Nintendo of America is not Nintendo of Japan either. Big difference. A lot of the BS we see about DEI comes from Nintendo America, not Japan. But that's
He's
just
right.
his 2 cents on this.
He's right. Zelda is a lot more active in the manga than in the games. I really strongly recommend reading the Zelda manga. It's really, really good. And the art is beautiful. Especially Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess's art is just it is just fantastic.
Well, and you have to remember too that Link is basically the RPG hero in the most truest sense. He's not that deep, guys. He's not that deep. He's here to kill Ganon. That's basically it.
I do want to address what Hypnotic said here about Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo of America is not Nintendo of Japan, but also think about who's making this game. It's Miyamoto. Miyamoto, he has made every Zelda game, Mario game. He knows what he's doing. And I said earlier, if anything is going to make it seem a little suspicious and like girl bossy, it would be Nintendo of America with the localization.
Well, and that's, I don't consider that to be a surprise these days.
No,
we had.
I mean, look at what they did. Look at what they've done with Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney is very and I don't understand why people are accepting that it's because it really is a 4Kids-esque localization. I've been dealing with that debate too. They just accept it. I'm like, really? You're pissed off about Pokemon, the 4Kidsing of Pokemon or 4Kids Pokemon localization with the jelly donuts, but you're fine with Ace Attorney? I don't understand that.
We were talking about how Ace Attorney's changed, Jacob, here while we wait for the rest of the guys to fill in. Hello.
How's it going, guys?
Living Vida Loca, talking the Zelda game. Did you see that?
We were talking about how Zelda. Yeah, we're talking about how people are saying Zelda is a girl boss and woke, and also how standard where Ace Attorney's localization is fine, even though it has a 4Kids-esque localization. But Pokemon,
well, I mean,
4Kids localization is bad.
Haven't they tried to force like Link to be gay and Zelda to be a girl boss for like the last like 25 years now? Like, haven't they tried to like force that into canon at this point? I guess it's a good thing that Nintendo still has a hold of this, because you only imagine like what would have happened if they didn't have control over this
Disney
property at
bought
this
it.
point.
Oh yeah.
Are you serious?
Like that, I'm surprised Bob Iger. I bet we'll find out once he's dead. Like that'll come out. Like he tried to buy a bunch of stuff off of Japanese, and they were like, "No, not
Miyamoto
even if
will not
Mount
let his baby
Fuji
go.
exploded. No."
That's Miyamoto's baby. He will not let that go. No way.
Nor
Well,
should he.
Right, but that's that. I am waiting. I am waiting for the announcement that Disney has bought the assets from the studio that made Evangelion that recently went bankrupt. I am waiting for the announcement that Disney owns Evangelion now. I'm waiting.
Because they own Macross.
Well, that's just it. It's like they're gonna buy up the iconic anime, but here's the trick. Here's the trick that I'm waiting for them to do. A Ready Player One with all of this crap. They're gonna reach like max capacity with stupid, useless franchises.
Do
so
a
they're
Ready
gonna
Player
toss
One
them
but
all.
with all the mecha anime. Like, get all of the rights for it just to do it with Gundam, Macross, Evangelion.
That would be fun, but they're not
That'd be
like
sick. It's not gonna
They're gonna-
happen, but just imagine if
gonna-
it did.
They would do this. They would stick the Disney princesses in the giant robots.
Oh my god.
And all the male characters would be like sissies that they have to rescue. I have to fight for my husband. That kind of thing would be the setup. And the only way to activate the Gundams is to sing.
No, imagine if it was like Gundam G, but Disney-fied.
Ugh. Oh, it hurts.
I just go with my my go-to stereotypical gay song. It's Raining Men. That playing in the background.
Spencer, it's Raining Men.
What up? It is Raining Men, but I have good news for you, Cider.
Me.
It is unlikely that Disney is going to get a hold of Evangelion, because with the end of Gainax's entire destroyed business, Studio Kara, where Hideaki Anno, the original director of Evangelion, currently works, they are taking over everything Gainax, and they're trying to find new homes for them, essentially. So they're shopping out the IPs to people who will take care of them, to their original owners, and they'll probably end up holding on to Evangelion. So at least for now, no Disney Eva. Thank God.
It's coming though. You can feel it.
Oh, of course it's coming. Of course it's coming. But it's gonna be exactly like you just said, Cider. It's gonna be their own original like Disney Princess Mecha or whatever, and it's just going to be just the safest thing possible. Just the safest, saddest thing possible.
Can you imagine Disney gets a hold of Darling in the Franxx and decides to make that?
Oh my
Disney
God.
Princess story?
I would laugh absolutely so hard, because that is one of those things where you would get a Pokemon level localization, right, Nerdigans? Because Disney would not accurately handle that property in any way. You're gonna get an old school 90s adaptation.
You know what's crazy though? If Disney Japan's localizations has been way better than stuff that's coming out of Viz lately, because they have left pronouns and stuff untranslated, and it has triggered the hell out of Katrina and her ilk, and I have been loving it. I am just laughing at this whole thing.
Let me ask you about that, Nerdigans, because you're completely right. For those of you who don't know, Disney through their Star service, and then over here in the States on Hulu, they're getting into the anime game lately, right? They've got Bleach 1000-Year Blood War. They just got the rights to Macross. But like Nerdigan said, we haven't really been seeing localization issues out of Disney. I think the one main one, Nerdigans, I can remember is Giselle in Bleach. There's a joke about her being that was Viz. Okay, so that was Viz's end. What do you think is up with that? What do you think is the reason that Disney isn't doing their Disney stuff in this realm? Is there just because we even had that interview from the head of Disney Animation Japan a few weeks ago where he was like, "Oh yeah, we definitely are aware of global audiences or whatever, and we're trying not to offend, and yet here we are." So what do you think is the are we seeing a shift, or is it just we're getting lucky? Is it one of those things where it's like if we bring attention to it, then they're gonna change it? What's up?
Well, something I remember he said a long time ago, and we put it in the Giselle article was that he promised that the localizations, well, anything that left overseas was going to be uncensored. So that, I think he's just staying true to his word. But I'm curious who is doing the localizations. Is it Disney that's doing it? Like they hired someone over there doing it, or is Kodansha doing it? Because a lot of these properties are Kodansha properties. I'm really curious who's doing it. I don't know who's doing it. That's the thing. But like, if
you don't know who's doing it, like that means it's a genuine mystery. Because if there's an anime question that you can't answer, then we are in emergency.
I have to look into this more. It's just a huge mystery. I might have to ask. I gotta ask my Kodansha rep if they know too.
What you don't they also have Ranger Reject? Is that
that's the one that
have you been watching? About. Well, I was gonna say, have you been watching that? How's that one been? Like that hasn't had anything changed in it?
I actually haven't been watching anime. I've been bad.
What? You can't admit that on stream. That's literally
I will.
That's literally your beat. Oh my god, we've been frauded.
No. But from what I've been hearing,
breaking news: Nerdigans doesn't watch anime.
Not watch anime.
No, I watch anime, but like I just
fake anime girl exposed live on Joe.
We're gonna be on Drama Alert. We're gonna be on there's a thread being made on Kiwi Farms right now about how we're fraud.
I bet you Nerdigans was never even a goth girl either. I bet she lied about that too.
But she's not even Jewish.
That was alternative. There's a difference. But in terms
of
the
backpedaling
lies.
From what I've heard through the grapevine, it's actually been pretty accurate and the pacing has been good. I've been I gotta thank the K Manga Twitter account too, because when I do, catch up with it, it's showing me the placement. It will tell you like right before the episode comes out, it will actually post which chapters or which chapter it's starting off at in terms of the episode, if you want to follow along in the manga.
That's pretty nice. I like that.
I like that the K Manga Twitter account's doing that. It's doing it for Ranger Reject. I think it's also doing that for Windbreaker as well this season, which is really, really nice to have.
I know like the wikis do that. Like if you go to the
wikis do that too, which is nice.
That's always like afterwards, right? So that
sounds
like
they do it like
being
I think they do it the day before. Yeah,
right. So they get you ready. They're like, oh, if you wanted to, revisit this or whatever, you can go here and then the episode tomorrow instead of afterwards, where it's like, gosh, where did that happen? Like, let me go through.
But they're doing it the day before. They post it the day before, which is nice to have. But yeah, from what I've been hearing, the pacing has been really good. The art and animation for Ranger Reject, Yostar has been doing a fantastic job. And speaking of
it looks great.
Cloverworks has done a fantastic job with Windbreaker as well. I'm so glad that people have really gotten hooked on it too.
Well, I'm glad that Disney is clearly putting in the money to make an actual effort to get into this market. But again, sort of like what Cider was saying with everybody who admittedly for understandable reason reacted to the Zelda trailer with shock, I guess is probably like the best word, calling it out. It's just, we've been burned so many times before by these entities. Nintendo a little less, like you guys already covered that, so we don't need to get into it. But like Disney especially, like the entire time we're having this conversation, Nerdigans, I'm hearing you and I'm like, this is awesome. They're doing a good job. What's the catch? Where is that shoe coming from? Like, where is it going to be next season where they have all their goodwill built up and then somebody goes rogue and goes, all right, now that we're good, let's start doing this. I have no idea. It's Disney. At the very least, I don't trust them to do a smart decision in any regard at this point. Whether it's
the only thing I have a problem with Disney is what happened with Bleach. They didn't check on what Viz was doing. That's right. And because Viz went out of their way to censor the Giselle stuff in Bleach. That's my only issue I have. And
I also think that's one of those things where Disney has no idea that they're doing that, right? Like Disney's saying, we're giving you the money, make Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, and we'll host it on Hulu and Star, right? Like, that's our deal.
Yeah.
Do it how you want to do. Cool. Viz is the one going, all right, we're making it. Let's change this. And so then when it gets to Disney's hands, Disney admittedly is just like, okay, cool. This is it. Let's throw it up. That's why I'm like, where will they come into this equation eventually? I have no idea. And I'm just worried about it.
Well, they use the fact that they changed the voice actor too. Like, that's where it just like, that's where it went a little too far. And where
was
Disney,
was that Disney or was that Viz?
That was Viz that did that.
Yeah, see, like it's all Viz. We already know Viz is completely like compromised. We know that they do not treat the works under their care with respect. I mean, look at One Piece. Just every other week there's a new battle over Yamato, right? Like, and they just can't
we have it with Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, it's the attacks are so inconsistent. They change the names every other week. It's just so frustrating. That's why people are pirating it. I'm really hoping, because Hosono, the editor-in-chief of Jump Plus, announced that he's leaving Jump Plus and he's becoming the editor-in-chief of Manga Plus. I'm hoping that I'm finally going to get what I want, which is that every title on Manga Plus is going to have its own localization. I really hope
You've been asking for that since like we became friends, like since we first started talking, and like it's not happening. I don't know how to get that through your head. You're never getting that.
At the very least, I'm hoping it means I get my Kingdom simulpubs. At least give me that.
I have a question.
Get the hell out of here.
I have a question for the man named Cider over here.
The avatar named Cider.
Yeah. Didn't we have an intro?
One more kiss and I'll get lost. I can take this anymore. One more step, we have it all. The fever's knocking at your door. One more kiss and I'll get lost. I can take this anymore. One more step, we have it all. The fever's knocking at your door. Can you feel the fever? You give me a fever again. Your game, but I love to be the one who gets played, yeah. There I go and I just fall again. Cause baby, I like the way I'm loving you. I like the hell you put me through. I keep on chasing after you. Can you feel the fever? You can be a fever. I like the things you make me do. You know how to make me like a fool. The way you smile, the way you move. Can you feel the fever? You give me a fever again. You give me a fever again.
Oh, happy Juneteenth, everyone. Are you so excited? We are free at last from Zeb Wells' awful, amazing Spider-Man run.
Hey, look, Conor McGregor may be in rehab for cocaine use, but I still trust him to write a better Star Wars than Disney.
How the hell did Star Wars go from Darth Vader to Darth Teeth?
And they killed him. because they didn't have the budget to show the Wookiee fighting. The highest budgeted Star Wars show didn't have the budget to make the walking rug wave a lightsaber around, so they killed him.
Yes, folks, you heard that right. It's another week of new Star Wars content and just another absolutely bonkers week of just awful creative decisions, awful writing decisions. We will obviously get into it, but before we do that, I want to welcome everybody to the show, the 01 stream here at Bounding Into Comics. Of course, you know me. I am your editor-in-chief and host, Spencer McCooley, and I am joined tonight by my lovely friends and co-hosts, Jacob Smith, Nerdigans, and Cider. You guys obviously know how we're all doing if you were catching the Majors briefing room before the show. Always a fun time to hear you guys talk about everything while I'm scrambling to wrap up an article. Very funny that you guys were able to cover it right after I published that River Song one. But yeah, aside from that, we have so much to talk about this week. There is so much Star Wars news. There is a lot to talk about with Assassin's Creed Shadows. It is not getting any better for them. There is a little bit of Disney... I want to say Disney BS, but I guess the correct term for it nowadays would be Disney magic that we will get into. And yeah, again, I'm going to take my victory lap because I wasn't on stream, but holy shit, we are finally getting rid of Zeb Wells from Amazing Spider-Man. Again, I'm not going to waste everybody's time by going into it. You guys have heard me before, but now
is that the Chasm guy?
Yes, it is. That's exactly what I was about to say. I was going to say, now we need to get rid of Chasm. We need to turn him back into Ben, and then I'll shut the hell up forever.
Well, X-Men got rid of the Krakoan era, so what's
X-Men got rid of the Krakoa era. It looks like they are at this point where it feels like we're on the precipice of another line-wide reboot, and I don't know what they're going to do. Marvel Comics, aside from the Ultimate line right now, it's not getting any better. Like, just don't believe your eyes or anything. Like, this current Amazing Spider-Man arc is the dumbest thing. It is literally the Spider-Man who laughs. Now it's, I'm Spider-Man, but I'm also a goblin. Isn't this so exciting? Whoa. What were you saying, Jacob?
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but you're not exactly done with Zeb Wells just yet, because
I know.
Even though he's not going to be a part of Spider-Man anymore, he is going to be a part of a pretty big upcoming Marvel project that is hitting theaters in just a few weeks, and he's one of 5, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 credited screenwriters for the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine movie.
Yes,
Isn't it great?
5 writers. I laugh at that. That's not even counting like the producers who are all going to be having input in all of this, right?
That's not even counting like the stereotypical like comic book writers, the creators who have to get like writer credits in order for them to use properties.
This is everybody who Marvel scrambled. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like him, like that's standard. But these are 5 Hollywood writers that they brought in. Well, 5 writers and Zeb Wells. They brought him in to do this again. Like, yes, we all like. I'll admit, like, even I get a little bit of hype when I watch the trailers for Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's like Jacob says, I can never forget that not only is Zeb Wells on this series, like they saw his work on Amazing Spider-Man and went, oh yeah, get that guy on our big movie, but his tryout for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to get that writing gig was She-Hulk. He was a writer on She-Hulk, and they went, yeah, She-Hulk ruled. Get your ass on Deadpool and Wolverine. So like, I want to be hyped. I truly do, but at the same time, I'm just like, I know.
This guy has like a weird, like, and he's like I said, he's one of the Robot Chicken pipeline guys that we've been emphasis talking about here. Like it's either like Robot Chicken or Rick and Morty. It's like one of those 2 shows, and they go straight to Marvel for some reason.
Right.
But
I don't get it.
Did Seth Green get a Marvel comic at some point?
I wouldn't put it past him.
I actually don't know. Maybe
it's like more Scott Pilgrim speed than Marvel,
but he also does like a lot of Star Wars stuff. So maybe he did like a Star Wars Marvel comic, like maybe that. But like I don't know if you guys or who here does watch my the popcorn buckets. This to me is trying too hard. Like this, we all saw the Dune popcorn bucket, and it was like, that's funny. That looks like a naughty thing. Right, and then they just went like, oh, isn't this funny? And it's like, no, you're trying too hard. Like it's not funny if you have to try this hard. So yeah, it's not great. But damn, Damn. Now
When
I don't
did
remember what I
this
was saying.
become a thing, by the way?
They've always done collectible like popcorn buckets.
Really?
I feel like they've done it since like the 90s, but they were never this extravagant. They were never like big toppers. They would have like a graphic on the like I guess bowl, the bucket. Yeah, duh. They would have like a graphic on the bucket. Occasionally you might get like a remember the toppers for the Star Wars Episode 1 sodas from like Taco Bell, where it was like R2 or Anakin? You would get like one of those little like cheap, like you can move their arms on the top of the bucket. But yeah, in recent years, they started doing like these insane over the top collectors buckets to the point where some of these aren't even feasible. Like they're gigantic. And I saw last night somebody shared an image on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but I guess there's a like a Paw Patrol movie or something coming out soon, like another one. And they made a bucket for that, but it's like a baby born thing. So it's like you strap it into your front and it's got like all the Paw Patrol stuff and you can just like eat it from the front. And I just saw that bucket and I was just like, this is Reddit. Like who collects this crap?
It's
like
Reddit the popcorn bucket.
It's just like, it's like Reddit the popcorn bucket, but it's like Reddit the phenomena more than even like Funko Pops. Like who goes and is like, I'm collecting these obnoxious over the top popcorn buckets. And for like what? I don't know. Obviously
they do it. The Disney fans do it. I mean, have you seen the Disney popcorn buckets? Like they are insane. The ones from the Disney parks
are from the parks.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that
they
parks
do.
were doing specific buckets.
Yeah, the Disney parks release like amazing popcorn buckets. Like the ones that are being released in the theaters, they're nothing compared to what Disneyland and Disney World release.
What are they like, nerdy? Like I have no idea. Are they just like
they actually make ones that are shaped like Mickey Mouse, for example, and he's like wearing a backpack is one of them. They had one they have one that with Mickey Mouse that's like wearing a costume. They have one that's
no, I've got it right here.
Yeah, you have them, right? You got the popcorn bucket, the Disney World.
I just Googled them. I don't have any specific ones, but these are the ones that they put out over there. They have the printed ones on the side, but they also have the thematic ones. I keep
like the alien. Yeah, that's one of them.
See like that Moana one above there, where it's just like the ones that are just a graphic on the side. That's what I remember. Like that. That's what I remember.
That's what we got when we were kids. Yes.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, then there's the more expensive ones too. There's the Halloween one that I was talking about too.
Which one? The mini witch, the mini witch.
The mini witch, yeah.
That's a bucket.
And see, like that's a bucket.
Oh no, I thought that was the bucket one. I'm sorry, but there is a bucket.
How do we get down this rabbit hole? Weren't we complaining about Zeb Wells?
Yeah. Zeb Wells led us to anything but Zeb Wells.
Yeah, seriously, anything but Zeb Wells.
But there's you saw the Pumbaa bucket too. Like they have Pumbaa, like the
Pumbaa one at least makes a little sense. The Pumbaa one, he's already like a big guy.
Yeah.
But yes, the bottom line of it is Zeb Wells, Saya freaking Nara, get out of my face. Let's retcon the chasm stuff. Let's retcon all of that, and let's hope he got like rushed out of the door immediately after like getting hired for Deadpool.
Let's hope he got pepper sprayed immediately.
Like immediately rushed out. This is what I'm gonna end this Zeb Wells segment with this, because it is like my favorite bit of Zeb Welliness. Oh no, can I not bring it up? Where is okay, I think this is it.
It's all ogre now.
It kind of is all ogre. But if you guys have seen, if you guys watch my stream on Fridays, this is my closeout clip from it. And it makes me laugh so hard. So for reference, because this is from a Robot Chicken DVD. It's a special on one of their their Star Wars collections. And this right here is Zeb Wells. And I'll just let the other man right here in the frame speak for himself.
We can't hear it. You forgot to share the audio.
Can't hear it. Can't share the audio.
You didn't share the audio.
What? I thought I shared the audio.
All that build up. All that build up.
All of it.
I click it. Let's see. Let's see. Screen 2. I guess I can't share it. That's weird. Here, I'll just pull it up on YouTube and I'll send it to Cider because I know Cider can take care of it. But yeah, I didn't even think about that, Jacob. Like it is like he's a robot chicken guy. It's the exact pipeline. I don't know what is going on over there because it's not even the same company. Like Cartoon Network and stuff, like Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
Robot
that's like
Chicken,
Warner.
That's WB. Yeah, that's Warner. So I don't know. Is there some weird
or has the money just dried up so bad for Disney that they're just getting the cheapest possible person they could possibly pay? It's like, hey, there's a bunch of people who wrote like one episode of Rick and Morty back in like 2017, so let's put him on and not pay him to write our terrible comic book movies.
Oh, now I'm not hearing anything.
I'm not hearing anything either.
The internet does not want you to hear George Lucas yelling at Zeb Wells. This is Marvel cover.
How bad have you guys screwed up screen share?
What has happened? I didn't do it. I gave it over to our tech guy to do it. Blame him now. That's what we pay Cider for, to take my tech L's.
What happened?
This is just a
share bad
disgrace.
There was no sound on that one again.
You know what? Let me just go ahead and clutch this one out for everyone involved because, you know, once again, I have to single-handedly save the entire show.
No, I just got a notification right here that it says the screen share sync is out on StreamYard. The platform itself is not sharing audio for everybody on it.
Oh, well that's
then. I guess we're going. Yeah, right.
It's a red bar here that says
Big Disney at it again.
The mouse is out for everyone. The mouse is out.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop.
Call Zeb's parents and be like, you paid for the wrong degree. He should have been like an engineer or something.
So there's your audio.
He's not a great writer.
I guess we're about to find out if this actually works. So let's go.
As the creator of
I hear it.
I hear it.
Wait, I hear it too.
Okay, so you guys are just dumb. Okay, that's great.
You to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought you brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Dad, I got your voucher.
Out.
Yeah, it was just an act, Leslie. It's all.
Yeah, it's just an act, but it's. I love it so much because it's just perfect.
Yeah.
It's just every encapsulation of what I feel about Zeb Wells. But speaking of emotions and feeling things, here's something that popped up right before we went on stream, and it is entirely stupid. Like, this might be one of the dumbest things we've seen in a long time. So if you guys hadn't heard the news this past week, Inside Out 2 is doing pretty damn well for itself. It's performing well. It's pulling in box office revenue. It's looking like it's going to make a profit. It's a hit. Like there's just like no way around it. A lot of that I think has to do with the fact that there's nothing for kids to watch that is not like exclusively for kids, right? You've got Marvel movies, I guess, but nothing like this hardcore and animated. But according to this new piece from Hollywood Reporter, insider sources at Disney are blaming, or not blaming, I guess, but attributing the success of this movie to audience diversity. It literally makes no sense. So if we go into the article, we don't have to, Cider. I've got the numbers right here. I can just talk about them. But they basically say, in the past, Pixar movies were generally made up of 50% white audiences. Now it's like Latinos are 38, whites are 34, blacks are 13, Asians 10, and Native American 5. And for some reason, that's what it says here in the article. Sources say Inside Out 2 never would have done the kinds of numbers it did without that level of diversity. Like, it doesn't. But then the person here at the Hollywood Reporter immediately checks their Disney source and is like, at the same time, though, this movie isn't even marketed towards like identity politics. Like, there's absolutely nothing in this, or maybe there is, I can't speak to it, but what they're saying is like, it's not a big focus. It's not the message, the movie. But to me, this just feels like insane. this feels like they saw something and they're trying to get it to fit their narrative now, because your audience diversity got you this big. That I don't understand. It's not.
Well, no, I got it for you. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. So you remember how last year Bob Iger said we're out of alignment with the market?
Mm-hmm.
Now you and I, being out here in normal people land, we go, you're going to realign yourselves to be in line with the market. And Bob Iger says, no, we're going to realign the culture to be in line with our plan.
That's true.
And that's what this is. This is them trying to explain that diversity that they have been pushing for over a decade now is finally bearing fruit for them. That's what they're trying to force with this, that they have changed the culture.
That's exactly
and it's only the antique dinosaurs on this stream, these 4 of us, that are in opposition. No one else on the planet is against us. Look at all these 13 and 5% and 40%, all of these numbers of people. Certainly not real people, but numbers of people. Yes.
But no, like I think, yes, I hear that. And it is just, it is part of Iger's plan to convince you that they are the cultural leaders that they want to be. This is such, I have such a hard time even criticizing this stat, because it's nothing. This is not a statistic. You didn't do any better because more diverse audiences popped up, right? Like to get that what do you call it? Like that result, or if you want to say that information, you would have to compare all of the ticket sales from the first Inside Out and all of the ticket sales to this Inside Out. And you know what? I guarantee if we did that right the hell now, Inside Out 1 blows this out of the water. So there's not even, it just doesn't make sense. The only thing you can get from this information is that audiences were more diverse. For whatever that does, it doesn't mean anything in terms of this movie, because it is a kids movie that is not focused
Which means
on
screw white people. Yeah, that's the takeaway here.
That pretty much is the takeaway here. Like it's sad. I don't know. It is just, it's sad. It's transparent, and part of me just goes like, is anybody honestly believing that audience diversity was the thing that pushed this movie over the edge? Like it just no, it doesn't. Like especially because it's just a pie chart of like 100%. They're not looking at numbers. They're just looking at percents of people. Everybody's going to amount to, I don't know. It's dumb. Disney's at it again.
They're just
focusing. What can we expect?
It's just diversity. And it's also the anti-white narrative too. I mean, something that I saw that kind of relates to this, since we're talking about like white erasure thing, is that that Twitch launched this Pride Guild, their Pride Leadership Guild. And I looked at the application, and the one thing I saw there was that white was not included on their application. And the other thing, of course, they included was they said, I think it was Latine that was there, and not Latino. And boy, that set off the community. And I'm just like thinking to myself, okay, so we're doing white erasure here, and we're doing Latino and Latina erasure here. And I was surprised the Hollywood Reporter had Hispanics and Latinos there, and not Latinx or Latine, because that's what I've been seeing a lot of from the media is Latine.
I get what you're saying, but even just hearing that, I just want to waterboard myself. Just hearing like this nonsense. It's what are we doing?
It's like I hear the word Latine, and I'm like, open up this plane mid-flight. I know it's a Boeing. I know it will. I'm getting off. That's exactly how I feel every time I hear this. Any attempt to make a gender neutral word like that isn't already gender neutral, right?
They hate it so much. The Latino Twitter hates it so much, and it's like they keep telling them, these companies, all the time. I think Hollywood Reporter probably got the message, and that's probably why they use Latino.
I think there is this is a slight white pill, but it's not even like that big of a white pill. It's like I think there is some level of shift happening in culture where people are getting really like the pendulum is starting to swing back just a tiny bit. I'm not saying we're winning. I'm not saying things are like gonna get way better on the horizon, but we're sort of seeing a small shift of people being, more open about pushing back against all of this, DEI, woke culture, all of that nonsense. I mean, like obviously there's this, where the Hollywood freaking Reporter is using Latino again, but I do, but yeah, like I definitely think there is some level of shift. And I think it's good. The thing that's what I was going to bring up that I completely forgot. A couple weeks ago, I believe it was the New York Times. They ran an article about Ibram X. Kendi and kind of analyzing how his entire grift has fallen apart and how everything he's doing is under investigation. And there was a statement from a college in Boston. It was either like Boston University or MIT. I forget which one specifically, but they were like, yeah, we don't use this stuff anymore. We were kind of, caught up in the moment. It isn't helpful. We don't want any association with them anymore. And it's like, can you imagine a Western or an American university just 2 years ago saying, fuck off, Ibram Kendi? They would have been razed to the ground. But now you're like, it's in the New York Times and everybody was behind it. So there is slight pushes happening. And that's where I think you're seeing that, Nerdigans. But again, every time that shift happens, you're going to see everybody go, oh, no. Now we have Latine. And when Latine finally dies, we're going to have like Latini or Latine with a Y or whatever. Like they won't stop. It just is on us to not give it, like not use it, not give them any way.
At Disney, it might be shifting a little bit more because of Primos being like shelved too.
No, that's coming back. That wasn't shelved. We have a date now. I forget what it is, but I saw it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that horribly stereotypical Mexican cartoon, Primos, is coming out eventually, and that's why it's like I don't. For as much as all this pendulum stuff is swinging, it's not happening at Disney. Disney is not the one where is not on board with this pendulum swinging back. I mean, you can just look at what we're getting out of Doctor Who, and you can just look at what we're getting out of like The Acolyte, like everything. And that's just in terms of message pushing. If we want to look at like quality, again, Jacob's favorite movie of the year next year, Captain America: Brave New World, that's coming out. That's still happening. Like
maybe
Disney.
It might be 2027 when it comes out.
Blade,
they may have another series of reshoots that come out in between them.
Well, there's still Blade.
Mahershala Ali will now be Captain. Wait, what was that?
It's not just Blade. It's everything. Like everything that they have in development right now is just an absolute dumpster fire. It's that one. It's Daredevil. It's the Agatha show that's now changed its name 4 times in the last 2 months.
I forget about that one.
There's the Ironheart, which was already in the can, which now has to be reshot to be re-released later on this year. So yeah, everything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a dumpster fire right now.
Like here's the thing with Blade. I've been saying this for a minute. And Wesley Snipes coming out and talking shit just really convinced me even more. It's the Wesley Snipes curse. That's what Blade is under the Wesley Snipes curse.
Here's the thing. When they announced this movie 5 years ago, I think Ali was like in his like late 40s, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. By the time this film finally comes out, he's gonna be in his mid 50s. You might as well just get Wesley Snipes back. I mean,
right?
He said that.
You might as well.
Marshall Lee said that. He said, "I've never seen this in all of my career." Where I got casted for a role and then nothing happened for 5 years. He said that it's never happened to him in his entire career.
It is the Snipes curse.
They even had his lawyer. His lawyer went to the press and was like, "It has been 5 years since we signed that contract, and we have not set foot on a stage or a set or a costuming thing." Like they are both. Like
they didn't even make promo images of this dude.
No,
sticking a black dude with sunglasses and a trench coat and giving him a sword was too hard for them.
The promotion pictures for Blade that we have to use is actually the promotional pictures when he was in Luke Cage several years ago.
That's all
a decade ago.
I'm telling you, that curse is real.
My favorite cherry on top of all this, guys, is if for all of the other 3 people out there who watched Eternals, besides me and Jacob, because we had to, but at the end credit scene of Eternals is Jon Snow, the Black Knight, like looking at the ebony blade, and he's like about to touch it, and then you get a voice cameo from Mahershala Ali, where he goes, "You don't want to do that, Mr. Whitman. There's like some spooky things going on with that." And it's like, ooh, it's Blade. But like, not only could they not give him a costume and have him be on screen, but if you guys have been keeping up with all the disasters lately, they've pretty much said Eternals doesn't exist anymore. Like all the plans for the Black Knight are completely like shelved. All the connection Blade was supposed to have to Eternals has been shelved. Like this movie,
okay,
I think
hold on.
Completely cursed.
What brain damaged person was like, you know who goes together really well? The Eternals and Blade. What a team.
It is, to me, you know what I thought or what I still think it was, Cider? I think it was, here's our artsy fartsy, we're trying to, you know, we're high art Marvel Cinematic Universe. Oh, Chloe Zhao is going to, all the pathos and ethos, and everybody knew from the start, everybody knew from the jump that this movie was going to be awful. So what do you do to appease the fans? Well, you give them what they actually wanted. Jon Snow, who like at that time was still way up in the like celebrity rankings.
Yeah, he was stepping down to be in a Marvel movie.
Yes, he was. He stepped down to be in a Marvel movie, and now he's not even in it. Now he's not even in the franchise. Like this, the Blade post-credit scene will go down in history as like one of the biggest. I don't know if it's like bait and switches, but like failed post-credit.
The biggest
like,
ball in superhero history.
So here's the thing, you know, we talked about this like a couple of years ago, but now it's really starting to like settle in and be a reality. They really did mortgage their entire future on Jonathan Majors for the next several years. Like they really thought that he was going to carry this thing into the next 5 to 10 years, and then it fell apart immediately. The whole thing fell apart
in weeks.
Yeah, and here we are. Like it's been about a year now since he was convicted. They don't even have a plan B yet. Like they still don't have a plan B.
Avengers 5, guys. Something's gonna happen in it. We're sure.
It's like we don't know if it's going to be a standalone movie. We don't even know who the Avengers are. To be completely honest with you, I mean, we don't know. We might bring back She-Hulk, maybe Brie Larson. We might just bring back Robert Downey Jr. We'll just bring him back too. Like, I know he's dead.
That's Secret Wars.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Cider. Like to that point, Jacob, all those cameos, everything we've talked about these next, like this end of Phase 5, Phase 6, like these two movies, it's all about Secret Wars. All the cameos are in Secret Wars. All the resetting, Secret Wars. Nobody has any idea, even Marvel, like you said.
Even in the promotional for Deadpool Wolverine, they're teasing Secret Wars. So it's like, it feels like they're just going to...
an entire movie.
Yeah.
Well, no, we were told by Ryan Reynolds that the last scene of Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine is the first scene in Secret Wars.
Really?
That's what Ryan Reynolds said. So, yeah, it was like back when they were doing the initial promotions for the movie when it first came out, and so somebody asked him about Secret Wars in an interview, and he said, yeah, it's the last scene in Wolverine and Deadpool is the first scene in Secret Wars. So they've been confirmed for it, and and apparently they're talking about having Henry Cavill play Wolverine. I've seen that float around as an alternate Wolverine. So. And then we have this.
This will be the greatest Marvel cutscene of all time, because they're just gonna have to completely memory hold this entire thing.
I let Jacob speak for me on this scene, but yes, Jacob knows exactly why this scene is the most hilarious scene.
I know how
they literally had the black guy in an arena full of himself howling like quite literally monkeys, like a pack of monkeys. Yeah. Making ape noises the entire time. But keep in mind,
I know what they're gonna do. I know how they're gonna fix this.
Like, to put this in perspective, this was Marvel's equivalent to like people seeing Thanos for the first time, right? Like this is what they were going for in this shot.
You're supposed to be terrified that this Kang guy that gave Ant-Man such a run for his money is now all over. He's a billion.
There's thousands of them.
There's look at the council. Woo! Can't be quiet in a movie theater.
Yep. But here's the thing. I know how they're going to fix this, right? They're going to have Dr. Doom walk in on this stadium. They're going to use this same footage. They're going to pick it up right where the Tutankhamun there, Tutankhamun, the Egyptian Kang, is addressing the group, right? Addressing the council. and Doom will teleport to the middle, put his fist through that guy's chest, rip his heart back out, crush it, and that shockwave will send the rest of the Kangs evaporating into Thanos dust that then Doom absorbs into his body, and he says, "Now for Battle World," and boom, he just zaps out.
That absorption turns his like cloak from green to white, so you can get that Secret Wars costume.
Exactly.
There it is.
And
Perfect.
that'll be Battle World King Doom. And that'll be how that's how he amasses the power he needs, is he's going to absorb the Council of Kangs, and thus Majors is erased from the continuum, and thus Dr. Doom has the power he needs to create Battle World.
Alternative, like, okay, obviously that is going to happen because that's a cider prediction, but alternatively, with all these delays, we could get to the point where this movie hits production right at the time when Jonathan Majors' agents think it's time for a comeback tour. Maybe
That's
we
true.
get him back. Like, oh, look, it was Kang all along.
Oh, no.
All along. Man,
That would
it's
be
such a
funny
disaster over there.
if they brought him back and the only thing they could do with him was make him like a sideshow clown. So he's
That
like
would be-
he's like in an Agatha
man.
like a jar, like a pony cum jar. And he's in
Yeah,
Agatha's
yes,
bedroom or
much.
whatever, and he's
like in
no,
the end of
no, beating against the glass.
like the end of the Super Mario Brothers movie when Bowser's like tiny in the cage and he's playing the piano. That's exactly what it'll be. Just keep him over there, and you can have him cameo and go, ooh, look, it's Majors, and then move on.
Agatha will replace the Collector, and she and Howard the Duck will laugh at.
I feel like we're gonna get Agatha in a movie, and it's going to be just embarrassing.
She'll have to be in Secret Wars. At this point, that's the only thing they can connect her to, because they can't put another unless she is another reshoot.
Well, like,
in
here's
Captain
the
America
problem.
movie.
It's like,
you could probably
what is the fundamental purpose of her character when you've already killed off Scarlet Witch? It's like, why is she even here?
Scarlet Witch is coming back.
Yeah,
Scarlet Witch will probably come back.
In the multiverse, no one's actually dead unless you sue Disney, like Scarlett Johansson.
No one's ever really gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one's ever really gone. We know that. But think about this though, Cider. I just realized this as you were saying that. Like, yeah, Agatha will show up in Secret Wars, but she's a villain, right? There are only like a handful of villains in the MCU compared to the heroes. So when we focus on the hero scenes, that's what we were talking about last week, where it's going to be 60,000 people who each get like a one sentence, one letter to say, and then they move on. But because there's only like 6 villains, everybody's going to get screen time and something to do. So they're going to have to find a way to make Agatha a prominent threat.
And they'll create a Nega Avengers is what they'll be. And so Agatha will be their sorceress supreme.
You're right. You're totally right.
And she will use white girl magic against.
Well, remember
Doctor
they're also teasing Charlize Theron as the female Doctor Strange in a future movie that hasn't been announced yet either. So that's another teaser that we may or may not see. Like, basically every single post-credit scene in like the last 3 years may or may not happen at this point. So this is where we are.
Maybe that's the game they're playing, right? You know.
Mm-hmm.
What,
come to the theater to find out what actually made it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we go to the theaters now, is to confirm the rumors. Dude,
right.
You want to know, like, of all of those, Jacob, the most Hail Mary pass, I think, of all of them is going to be Black Panther's kid. Like, will they ever bring him back for a Black Panther sequel? Will they ignore it? Like,
they're going to have to do it.
That's going to be like 13 years in the future. So we'll see if they're
no. Secret Wars. They need a Black Panther, and they know that she's not it, so they'll do a time skip. He'll be a time skip.
That's true.
T'Challa Jr.
Yeah. Oh,
but he'll be like a teenager.
Show up and he'll start fighting, and everybody will be like, "What? Is that you, T'Challa?" And then he'll take off his helmet, and it's be like, "No, that was my father."
Why do you keep saying my father's name?
It's not going to be his son.
Father.
It's going to be his daughter. You know this.
Or it's like his son's daughter, so T'Challa's granddaughter. Like, that's who it'll be.
Or a
right?
transgender.
Here it is. I got it.
Of course.
I got it right here. Okay, so here it is. T'Challa Jr. and Miles Morales and trans Gwen Stacy are the young set vehicle in Secret Wars. So, like, for the teenagers to experience the movie, these 3 will have a Scooby-Doo style adventure intermingled with Secret Wars in order to get Doom's underwear or something. and that'll be how they integrate the black swagger of teenage T'Challa Jr. And he'll be like a 17-year-old king, right? And that'll be Miles's fascination with him. He's like, dude, you're a king? And he's like, yeah, it's not that important, though. I don't get to make any decisions. Like, dude, you're a king. You can see the thing where he's grabbing his head, bouncing around. He's like, you're a king, dude. You're a king.
And but then there's gonna have to be some kind of like lecture in the film about how he just wants to live a normal life, and then you're going around it's like, you can't live a normal life. Don't you know there's systematic oppression of black people all around the world?
That'll be Gwen Stacy's role because she's a teenage white girl, and that's what teenage white girls do: is they tell black people they're oppressed.
She'll have a free Palestine backpack. That'll be the thing too.
Because they can't put Black Lives Matter on there anymore. BLM means Biden loves minors now. So they've got to move. They got to get away from that.
Instead of a Palestine flag or instead of BLM, it'll just be a full poster on Gwen Stacy's wall of Biden's granddaughter or Biden's daughter's diary entry. That'll be the entire thing. It'll
Dylan Mulvaney with a Bud Light on the wall.
That's your new king, everybody. That's your new king.
Yeah, you go. Yeah. Oh, that'll be the Beyonder. They'll make Dylan Mulvaney the Beyonder.
Yes. Oh my dude, they will. They will too.
Because he's beyond gender. Get it?
Oh my. This is awful. This is so bad.
You know what else is awful,
so bad.
guys?
It works so bad.
The Boys. But it's awful for different reasons.
This is what I've heard. Before we hit this, I just want to say Eccentric in Banana in the chat is asking, is the king in the comic books black? No. NSC Veritas is saying that he was blue. Also, no, he is actually a full-on white dude who just discovered time travel and said, "All right, I'm gonna go be fair right now." So
the whole concept of the character is that he's supposed to be a descendant of Reed Richards from the future. Like that's the whole
Reed
concept
Richards,
of the
who
character.
is notoriously white, like the most white bread of superheroes
whitest,
ever.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he thinks salt is a spice.
Mm-hmm.
He can't handle it. He absolutely couldn't.
It's like literally my favorite NBA player is Larry Bird White. Like that's how white this guy.
Right? That would be what Reed Richards asks, right? He's like, "How's Larry Bird doing in the basketball tournament this year?" And they're like, "Larry hasn't played in 30 years, Reed. What are you?"
Oh my god! But he's also that could work because remember the Fantastic Four are supposed to be like coming from like an alternate time in the past. So yeah, you could easily show him and be like, "How's Larry Bird's stats
He's
this
from
year?"
a world where Larry Bird became Michael Jordan. Like he became the most popular basketball player.
a universe where Larry Bird won 3 more championships.
A universe where he was in Space Jam. You got Larry Bird.
The Air Jordan logo is Larry Bird. Hell yes, I'm so here for that.
My Air Larrys. My Air Larrys. Because he can't call him Air Bird.
That's the other part of the multiverse now. It's like Nike didn't become like the greatest like shoe in the entire world. It became like something like obscure, like New Balance or something like that.
I was gonna say like K-Swiss. New Balance, K-Swiss.
Something like Skechers with Larry Bird.
Yes, that's right. The light up Air Larrys. Get your
light up Air Larrys from Skechers.
There you go. That's what
exclusively
Reed
at
Richards.
Payless.
That's what Reed Richards has on. Yeah, and Payless is like the Macy's of this universe, you know?
Yeah.
It would have to be something cheap because it would be like white people don't spend like $600 for shoes. So it's like
It's true. But it's like Skechers, right? So he's got like light up shoes and everything, and he's walking around all hot and stuff in his mid-30s, right? Or like,
so some light up green shoes.
Yeah, right. Light up green.
They gotta have the pump.
Right, and so the sneakerheads corner Reed Richards, and they're like, "Where'd you get those? What are those?" He's like, "These are my Air Larrys," and they light up.
Yo, he's a fraud. Like, yo, these are fake. Get them.
Exactly. Where'd these come from? China? What are Air Larrys? This bootleg Jumpman shoes.
That reminds me of the scene in Malibu's Most Wanted where Jamie Kennedy asked, like, I forget who he asked, but he's like, what game consoles you got? He's like, I got a Gamecast. And he's like, you can either have a GameCube or a Dreamcast. I have a Gamecast, all right?
Exactly. I love that.
Like,
I collect those. I collect those bootleg, useless console and handhelds that have like 1,000 nonsense, useless games on them. I love bootleg stuff from Japan. It is stupid, and I love it.
I got one. Like my cousin had, like, I don't know why he had it, but he was like, "Do you want this? Like, just have it." It's like one of the ones you plug into like an HDMI port, like nowadays, and it has like all of these games. I am baffled at how far we have come, because I remember back when we were kids, it was like 99 in one game system, and they were all really bad. Like it was 98 copies of like Mario Brothers, but all ROM hacks, and then like a really bad balloon fighter. Now, like they have, obviously it's completely illegal, but it's like, I was playing Super Star Wars on this thing the other night. I was playing Marvel versus Capcom. I was playing all of these like legitimate games and I'm just like, wow, like we have come so far. Thank you.
Which may or may not be legal, by the way.
Oh no, they are completely all illegal. Like I absolutely know they are, but I've got mine.
So get this, right? I can't show you guys because I don't want Bounding's brand associated with this. So you're just gonna have to trust me that it's real. They make a Switch. The Chinese have created a Switch cartridge, right? The little Switch slider mini thing that you put in, right? You put in, and when you download a game off the store, you can write it onto the cartridge. Now I don't know if you know this or not.
Just swap it out,
Right, but that means you like have an infinite printer of video game at that point. And now they're putting out those Switch 99,000 games in one thing. On well, no, they've got a terabyte mini SD now. And that's where they put all these games on there. So they got Skyrim on this motherfucker. They've got Ocarina of Time on this bitch. And you just slide that motherfucker in there. You've got every Nintendo game ever made on your Switch now. Whether it works or not, I can't promise you. But
we have too much power.
It's true. It's true. Speaking of having too much power, somebody needs to stomp on Kripke's balls.
So let's transition over to a little The Boys talk. We are obviously back with a new season.
Sorry for our detour to the Larryverse, but now we have to go back to
well, you know what? That might be a side quest in the 01 manga, is that we've been transported to the Larryverse.
The Larryverse into the
Zero-1 Legion quest in the Larryverse. Larryverse quest into the Larryverse. There it is. 01 into the Larryverse.
And we meet all of our Larry equivalents, and they've all got like long hair, a mustache, and like the basketball headband. That's what they are all wearing all the time.
It's like right.
Don't forget the off-brand Hitler mustache too. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah.
But also
in a world where everyone looks like Jim Carrey, for me, myself, and Irene.
Right, but wait. So Larry Bird became president in this universe, right?
Of course he did.
He became president in this universe,
President
right?
Bird.
So everybody dresses like him and stuff like that because he's like some kind of utopian leader, like they like Mountain Dew, Delarone, Dwayne, or whatever the president was in Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Larry Bird became the first ever president / active general manager for the Boston Celtics.
Exactly. He's like, I'd love to be at the Joint Chiefs of Staff meeting, but we're doing weekend training here, and these guys are way out of alignment. You guys can handle this.
He's vetoing bills as he's trying to like figure out who's going to draft in the second round.
Right, exactly. And he's getting it mixed up.
He's got one hand signing a bill, the other hand in the wheel thing where they have the envelopes, Jacob. Like that's what he's doing. Like, oh, okay, we gotta go.
I gotta sign this. He's like signing autographs. Somebody hands him a bill. He's got to sign. And he signs it and puts a little heart at the end of it. Like, no, Mr. President, you can't put it from your good buddy Larry on this document, sir. You've got to sign your full name.
President Larithal Bird.
President Bird. Dunking for democracy.
Then, Leslie says, will Larry Bird's followers be called Bird Brains? Absolutely. That is what we're called now. Bird Brain Nation, rise up.
Perfect. We're halfway through this manga.
we are halfway through the premiere issue of 01. Stay tuned.
Why is it? I know we've been talking about this. We're gonna get to The Boys, I swear. But seriously,
we will get to it. No, this is
how is it that you can't get like 10 chuckle fucks in a room at Disney and then just come up with something better than what they go come up with on a day-to-day basis? It's like there's no creativity in any of the movies and the television shows. We come up with better stuff, and we're not even like being serious at all. Like we're just spitballing and pulling stuff out out of our ass. We just created an entire universe revolving around Larry Bird. Like, how can
I actually have some insight into this that came out today. Actually, like it's an article that I'm currently writing for Bounding, so I can touch upon it here. Marty O'Donnell, the original series composer for Halo, he did Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and Reach and ODST. He recently he made a run for the Congress in Nevada. He unfortunately didn't win, but he's regrouping and making a run next season. But he came out and he was doing an interview today, and he was talking about DEI and all of this stuff. And the interviewer was like, "Why is this happening? Like, what's up with this wave?" And Marty basically said, "Well, I can't speak to what's happening currently, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. When I was at Microsoft, they were," and I quote, like, "afraid of being on the wrong side of particularly vocal and annoying special interest groups." So that is exactly why we just came up with this stupid Larry Bird idea that got a lot of laughs and could be a lot of fun. And Cider even had an idea of how to integrate it into the 0-1 lore that we're working on. If we were Disney, we'd be going here, we'd go, okay, ha ha ha, Larryverse. We'd have like 3 dipshits behind us going, you know, a Larryverse sounds like it's all white. That's going to be a problem. Oh, Air Larrys instead of Jordans. What does that say about black culture? Like, there would be 700 different questions like that. And instead of in the old days where you could go, I hear you, but I'm going to do it anyway. Or I hear you, but this is my decision. We would have to listen to absolutely every single one of them. Otherwise, we get fired. Otherwise, we get written up. Otherwise, we get assigned to work on Blade. Like, that's what's happening nowadays, is that it seems so obvious, but it's confirmation of what we all know. Everybody is bowing to the fact that they just don't want to be annoyed. They don't want to listen to these people. And unfortunately, that leads to us getting the Acolyte, to getting the boys, to getting all of this crap, because nobody can step out of line. It's like mandated that you cannot step out of the zeitgeist anymore. And if you do, you immediately get like every single accusation under the sun thrown at you. Pedophile, Nazi, yada, 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 yada. So that's what it is. It is literally just everybody, there's this looming fear. They believe now in entertainment that these interest groups, you know, LGBT, Black Lives Matter, whatever, they think they have huge purchasing power. Like, these are the people who, if they say something, our sales are going to tank. It's not true. It maybe happens every once in a while. And oftentimes that has to do with something like, oh, the creator outright was like super, super racist or something like that. Like, that's when it happens. Look at everything we're looking at now. Look at Hogwarts Legacy, right? That's the best example. Everybody and their mom, every neoliberal and their mom dad and their dad mom decided we're going to boycott this game because J.K. Rowling is transphobic and J.K. Rowling is a racist and J.K. Rowling didn't buy me a Furby when I was 9 years old. All of these reasons were being thrown out, and the game went on to be the best-selling game of last year. Like that, what these entertainment companies are in a completely different reality than we are in. Like, I know it sounds so obvious, but I'm just like, we finally have somebody coming out and being like, yeah, this is what it is.
We talked about it a little earlier with the Suicide Squad artist there talking about delivering beautiful women and then having it come back as Urkel in sunglasses. So...
And like, again, like I said at the end of that article, if you guys go back and read it, it's on Bounding into Comics. But that whole admission from the Suicide Squad character artist, that's it. That's the smoking gun. No longer can anybody come back to you and say, oh, why do you want, like, you're just being weird. You're making a problem where it doesn't exist. This isn't happening. Because we have somebody who literally says in his ranting, like, I don't want to give Gamergate fuel, but like, this has gotten to the point where even people in the industry are going, even the neoliberals are going, okay, everybody is ugly here. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, there is a very obvious, like, concerted effort to make everyone just the ugliest you possibly can. Like, I know we're going to talk about the boys, but this is one last quick detour. I don't know if you guys all saw. So. Well, they are quite ugly. Although, I mean, Erin Moriarty is now. I thought she was cute before her weird surgery, but I don't know if you guys saw this with all the Summer Games Fest stuff, but during Microsoft's presentation, they revealed a new look at the upcoming Fable game. And this is the game where everybody was going, oh, look at this female protagonist. She's so ugly. Why does she look like that? She looks like she's an actual, like, a wench from back in the day. And everybody sort of countered that, myself included, going, we hear you. or I said we hear you. Most critics were just telling people, be quiet, incel. But a lot of it was, we get that, but it's a game where you create your own character. This, she's ugly, but you don't have to play as her. You can make whoever you want when we eventually get it. In the reveal over Summer Games Fest, Microsoft said, "Oh, we are changing Fable, and you have to play as her. This is your protagonist now." And it's like, that's not what Fable ever was.
It's the same thing with Dragon Age.
Right,
Dragon Age, they changed it. People are so pissed. I brought it up in my one of my Twitter threads. I asked what people thought about what was happening. They're like, in terms of the pansexual stuff, they're like, that's not the point of making everyone pansexual is done. Like, we like the challenge of changing someone from like a straight person to like a gay person. That like just made it more fun for us. And just by automatically making everyone pansexual, what's the point?
Right. I mean,
stupid.
Exactly. They're stupid. They don't think further than, will I offend the hug box? Like, that is literally where their thoughts go. And I mean, you can sort of see it here in The Boys. We will finally get to The Boys. I promised you guys we will not take until tomorrow to talk about it. But The Boys is absolutely one of these like culture first, own the chuds, get your swings in type of media that all of this is happening. Every creative decision that happens,
it's one of those shows that think that they're being subtle, or it's like, I bet you they don't realize that we're actually using this show to tackle our political enemies. It's like, no, it's a show produced by Seth Rogen. We knew that from the very beginning. It's like, you guys are just now coming around to the fact. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, the whole time this was about Trump and the Nazis. It was like, yeah, we knew.
And it's like, like that's to that exact point, right, Jacob? So with this new season that came out, the writing has gone completely like on the nose. You know what they're doing now. There is no subtlety for all of these, like Jacob said, a common point of criticism or discourse over the past week is people like in our sphere go, this is really cringy. This is really like, we know what you're trying to do. You're just not doing it well. Like, this is really embarrassing. And then everybody who supports it goes, oh, did you just realize this now? It hasn't been too subtle for you, you stupid chuds. But it's like, this isn't, like I said, it's not subtle at all. It's just, ha ha ha, isn't this a joke? Like, there is a line in this season about politicians outlawing the teaching of critical soups theory. And it's like, we know what that is. That's not clever.
Yeah.
Those sort of jokes are just there for the people who are already on your side to go, yeah, you got him. Right, exactly. It's the same sort of low energy joke that you hear from people like a lot of like right-wing commentators, right? Where Greg Gutfeld is probably the best example I have at this, where he always just defaults to like, oh yeah, that would have been like something, but it went woke, and all of his audience goes like, haha, yeah. But most of us here would go, okay, you said woke. Is that the only joke? Like, what's the humor in this? And it's like, there is no humor past you recognize this, and it's getting a dig in on your enemies. And like, that's what this entire, I can't believe this. So there is a new character, completely original, introduced in this season named Firecracker. She's basically, I'm using their descriptor, so bear with me here. She is basically alt-right QAnon Jubilee, where she makes sparks from her hands, but she spends most of her time going around talking about adrenochrome and all the babies being eaten. And it's just like,
didn't they already have a right-wing racist character woman from like a season ago?
Yeah.
It's like, why if you were going to continue this theme, why wouldn't you just keep the same character you already have to be that representation?
Well, they flambéed her, so they can't.
Yeah, she's technically dead.
No more.
No, that's what I was saying. Though, it's like, why even kill her off if you're going to do the exact same character like in the next season? It makes no sense.
Because she didn't look like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and so they had to make it like as close as they could get it without it being a blonde lady.
Fun side note, and I think Cider and Nerdigans, you'll know this, but do you guys remember the game Detroit Become Human? That awful David Cage game?
I think about it too often.
Yeah.
Right. Do you remember Kara from that game? Like the main android girl, like she's the one who talks to you at the beginning when you start up. She's got like Kara. That's her. That Firecracker is her.
Oh.
Like the actress is the same lady. I had like my mind blown. I was like, oh wow.
Oh no, she's the android that works for the guy that wants Alan to kill her.
Right? Isn't that
yeah, the guy
Yeah.
in the blood pool?
That is different. Yeah, that's a different robot from the beginning. But yeah, that's her. And I was just like, oh, whoa, hey, nice to see you. That's all I had to say. There's nothing to like criticize or anything. I was just like, oh hey, that's you. But yeah, like so this character, clearly, as admitted by showrunner Eric Kripke, was just created to be a full-on parody of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And again, satire and stuff doesn't work if it's just on the nose.
Right.
We all go, okay, we got it. There is nothing subtle. Even if he hadn't come out and said this, we all probably would have gotten the idea that yes, this is who it is supposed to be. We're not dumb as they all think their opponents are, right? And that is a big flaw in neoliberalism. They think anybody who's not with them is baseline retarded, and that ends up hurting them.
Spencer, I want to bring this up though, because now that we know it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know if this was intentional or not, because Marjorie does not have a butt. So I have to wonder if they corrected the player model to match.
Was this accurate or was this censorship?
Yeah. Well, I know that they didn't change the jiggle physics on the butt. We'll get into that video
We definitely will.
Here. Maybe. Yeah. No.
There it is.
Next video. There. Okay, so we're going to watch the jiggle physics on this, all right? And so they're spinning the character around. So you see how her cheeks have been eliminated, right? They're still jiggling like there's 2 prize-winning pumpkins in there.
See,
so that means...
I don't know if this is for Marjorie, but I think this is just another instance of no attractive women and you can't have any fun. Because, so if you, for those in the chat who don't know, in January of this year, in anticipation of the boys' upcoming season, Call of Duty added Firecracker and A-Train as characters that you could buy from the store and play as in-game. Upon purchasing Firecracker skins, players across the internet were like, this character model, like Cider has right here, she's thick. She's got something. She's working it. And
that's America's ass right there.
That is America's ass right there, even more so. And it's not even like, 2 or 3 people were having jokes about it or a small group of memes. It was everyone, to the point where Dexerto, I don't know how you pronounce that name. It's another Gatwa situation. But Dexerto, they made an entire article being like, look at all of these people commenting on it. If you go on YouTube and go Firecracker Call of Duty skin, every short is about her backside. Every video is about her backside, right? Like it was a very noticeable phenomenon. And then,
that's where they got angry.
Right. That's where clearly somebody got pissed off. Somebody thought it wasn't right. And they nerfed her backside. But as Cider just showed you, that's how you know this wasn't a real creative decision. And this was a scramble to appease those special interest groups. Because the physics on her ass are still the large ones.
But here's the thing, though, and this is why these people are so dumb, because it's like characters like her and Homelander and like all the other characters that are involved in this show, it's like they portray these characters to be the villain, right? They want these characters to be just as hated as much as they actually hate Trump and they actually hate Green and all these other characters, right? But then they get a following, and they get a cult following, and people actually like these characters, and then the creators get upset because, like, you're not supposed to like this character. That guy's Trump. You're supposed to hate Trump.
He's making fun of you. Like, oh, do you not get that? Yep. And again, that goes back to that whole thing where the neo-left thinks you are retarded, right?
Yeah.
When, like, for example, I am probably one of those people who, like, I think for all the flaws this stupid show has, Anthony Starr as Homelander is fantastic. That, like, his depiction of the character is fun. He makes a lot of sense. He's, you love to hate him. And yeah, I watch that and I go, he's cool. I like Homelander. But what they all fail to realize on the neo left is that I also, since I have a brain, I can recognize, like, yes, these things he's doing are bad. And I know you are trying to draw a 1-to-1 to Trump, but on the other hand, he's just a good character. We want to enjoy them, and their brains short circuit there. Like, you see it all the time.
it's the whole thing where like Ron Swanson is a perfect example of this from Parks and Recreations, right? Ron Swanson was a character that was created to be like, you know, the uber libertarian, I hate the government, America. Yeah. Everyone knew that going into that, right? And everyone could understand that. And there's still like this group of people out there. It's like, why do you guys identify with him? It's like, he's supposed to be like, because everyone understands that he is the exaggerated version of an anti-government libertarian. It's like
Gribble. You can make the argument for Dale Gribble too. He's the extreme character, that conspiracy theory.
But that's the thing, though. It's like his character is essentially the exaggerated version of, like I said, the anti-government libertarian that everyone wants to be in real life but can't. But you can appreciate a guy who just says, like, yeah, America started, history started at 1776. Everything before that was a mistake. It's like that's the part that they don't understand. It's like, yeah, we get that these are exaggerated characters that are supposed to portray like a certain group of people, but because it's exaggerated, because unlike you, we can separate fiction from reality. That's why so many people can identify with the fictional characters and the fictional representation of what they are.
Well, so do you remember, or go ahead, Cider, then I'll go.
Well, this is what I want to bring up, because I ran for local office a couple of times.
Yeah.
And what I could tell you is Ron Swanson is not that fictional, believe it or not. The people that end up in small government are usually rampantly anti-government. Especially guys that find their way into like stamp positions that approve spending, that are in charge of departments. They're usually hard anti-government people. Sometimes they're surrounded by very pro-government people, and that prevents them from getting their agenda done. Right. But those guys, Ron Swanson is not that fictional, believe me. I've met so many Ron Swansons. But the one thing I want to point out with this, on the topic of characters you're not supposed to like, is Soldier Boy. Now, apart from being a womanizer, that character has done nothing wrong. He's a sexist womanizer that gets off on drugs. That is it. He's a Vietnam War veteran. He's literally just your uncle. Okay? You know? He's your uncle that can't die. You know? That's what he is. And I like Jensen Ackles as an actor. I don't like him as a person. But I like him as an actor. And you want people to not like this character? Have somebody like Ezra Miller play Soldier Boy. Then they're definitely not going to like it. Don't put
that's the problem,
Jensen
though,
smile and make women come Eccles in this fucking show and make him a bad guy.
But hold on, Cider, you just represented the opposite side of this problem. It's like they hate the fact that, like I said, Homelander, Ron Swanson, all these like right-wing characters are beloved in these television shows and these movies. And on the flip side, they put themselves into the movie through like characters like we see in like Star Wars, Acolyte, and so many other movies and TV shows. And then those characters get hated, and then they take offense to that because those characters are basically them. So they're seeing that, oh, everyone's rejecting me being in this film. It's like, so the characters that they don't like are the ones that are getting liked, and the ones that are essentially them are the ones that are getting hated. And this is why they're so frustrated with the audience. Because they don't understand that you're not likable as a person.
So Mitch brought this up right here, and so he says Homelander and Soldier Boy are the best characters in the show. Meanwhile, Starlight is an insufferable feminist, and Huey is a soy boy. So I bring this up because I don't know how many of you guys all watched the last season. I mean, like, obviously the ratings were down, whatever. But one of the plot points was Huey decides he wants to take Compound V to be on the same level and as, you know, Butcher and his girlfriend Starlight, and, you know, survive and do his mission. And that when he does, Starlight tells him, like, I don't like this. And they get into this whole season-long conflict that basically resolves with her being like, you're just being like toxically masculine. Like and then the showrunners came out afterwards and were like, yeah, this was a comment on toxic masculinity. The problem is everybody walked away from that scene going, Starlight's like a bitch. Like, why are you being like that to Huey? Like, you guys are all superheroes. You expect him to just not do anything?
It's like,
but they thought that, you know, everybody would go on Starlight's side and be like, yeah, Starlight, you show him about toxic masculinity. And nobody did, because everybody realizes just how like narcissistic and stupid all of those self-inserts are.
These shows are exposing on a very character level, a human level, just how completely out of touch these creators actually are.
Yes. Well, the thing is that The Boys, as a comic book, has starts having a disillusion point, if you will. And this show is fighting that disillusionment as hard as it can, even though the progression of the story they're writing in that avoidance is leading to it as well. And what you're seeing is you're seeing that Huey scene. What they wanted was you wanted to get the idea that women can protect men, because the damsel in distress idea is very counter to the intersectional feminist concept.
Yeah.
So having a spidly soy boy that gets saved by a hot cheerleader girl that can bench press trucks, so she's got that going on. He should be the damsel in distress, and because he doesn't want to be, he's the bad guy. But here's the thing. This show also went through all the trouble of showing us Butcher manhandling Homelander, who's been the source of everyone's problem. Then you're supposed to say to Huey, don't get your revenge. Because your girlfriend might not like having her power over the relationship challenged.
And this is
Hold on a second. Have these people not watched Kim Possible? Because that's literally what happens in Kim Possible.
That's Ron and Kim, right?
Yeah, but their relationship is cute though. They're not complete assholes to each other.
You can no longer take any influence from anything made before like 2018. You can take visual references. You can have,
you can do Kim Possible. But Ron is useless. He's no help to her anymore.
Right.
Like he was her sidekick. Now he's going to be the damsel in distress. That's the new Kim Possible.
Both. He is the damsel in distress sometimes, though.
But see, like, so Nerdigans, this is I'm bringing this comparison up because I know you'll get it, and I feel like nobody else I ever talk to does get it. But remember in Fairly Odd Parents when Timmy made the wish about, I wish everybody was the same. I wish everybody was a gray blob. I wish nobody had any differences among them, right?
Yes.
That is what neoliberalism wants. They want everybody to be a gray generic blob, but when they are gray generic blobs, the neo-left is that same. They're the ones that Timmy encounters, right? Who goes, but I'm grayer. I'm blobbier than you. That's what they want to take away your individualism, but assert their own dominance over you. And most sane people can see it coming from a mile away. Yeah, we all know, no, I'm not going to, bend the knee to the guy who works at Starbucks who can't take an order, right? Without having
who's crying power, because there's 4 people on duty breakdown. And 8 people in the lobby, Yeah. But that's what you're dealing with here. So we've got this right here, the Rotten Tomatoes score we've had up for a few minutes here. This is for season 4. This is not for the series as a whole. This is just season 4. And what I want to direct your attention to is 2,500 plus audience score rating. So this is not a busload of review bombers that showed up following the instruction of a streamer to screw with this. This is the audience saying, Mr. Kripke, we are bored of your agenda.
Yes. But the thing is, he's not going to stop. He obviously says, in the article we were looking at, he says, go watch something else. We know the next season is going to be the last season, presumably because he wants to end it. But that's what he's saying. But we'll see what the actual news is as time goes on. But it is really just that the audience is not connecting with your message because he is writing this series specifically for Hollywood. A small handful of people. Exactly, Hollywood. Let's see. Somebody in here said, RJ McCready said, already I'm being vindicated not watching past season 1. So I wanted to bring that up because if you guys remember season 1, that was a really good season. Everybody liked that season. When the boys came out, everybody went, we are so back. But then it went downhill. And the difference is in that first season, the object of the criticism and everything were the superheroes. But if you wanted a parallel in the real world, just government in general, authoritative government, not one specific side, just the corporate heads of both, America's run by corporations, that stuff. Yeah.
It was the celebrity immunity to justice is really what I got out of it. Was that once you're a certain level of famous, the law doesn't apply.
But here's the problem though, because now the guy has come out and said after the fact that when they started the show, the whole idea was to have this all about Trump. So the whole concept, I mean, like I said, the takeaway you guys have from it is correct, but what they were trying to portray is, like I said, Homelander is Trump. And that's why I'm trying to do like the whole celebrity aspect of it. Because like, oh my God, this is just like the rise of Trump. He's going around killing people, and everyone's cheering for him. And that's exactly what Trump did. Like that's in their mind, that's what they were portraying to the audience, right? And I think it took the audience probably a couple of seasons to pick up that this is exactly where they were going.
Yep, that scene where Homelander laser beams that crowd and everybody cheers for him afterwards, that's supposed to be the Trump shooting someone on Fifth Avenue.
On Fifth Avenue.
That's
I was going to bring that up.
Because Kripke's shallow. He's a shallow dumbass, so...
Yes, he absolutely is shallow. Like, there's not a lot to his writing. But that's what I was going to bring up. I wanted to touch upon that scene earlier when Jacob was talking about how, we see the over-the-topness and the ridiculousness of all of this, but we know it's that exaggerated sort of fantasy fulfillment, right? Like nobody can look me in the eyes. Nobody can honestly look me in the eyes and say, I've never had, been annoyed by somebody and had the thought of like, I'm going to push them off the bridge, or man, I wish I'm so angry. I wish I could just pow, pow. Everybody's had those thoughts. And to see Homelander do it, ended stream. But like to see Homelander do that, all of us, we recognize that in real life, that's bad. You don't just kill somebody. But in that moment, it's sort of like, we get it. Like wish fulfillment. So they keep giving all the wish fulfillment to these characters, and then they turn the characters they want you to like into your grade school teacher who tells you not to do anything. And they wonder why nobody is watching any of this stuff. Like it's such a baffling development.
You were talking about this, and this came back to my mind right here. Yes, there's a nice computer butt. I don't deny it. But why I'm here though is that
Leslie's got you.
I can't help it. All right, I'm from Maine. It's the land of the big bottom women. But anyway, what we're looking at here is that the Boys is a degenerate property. There is nobody who's good in this entire even the comics. There is no good guy. That was the kick of the Boys, is that who could be the worst dickhead. And that's basically what that whole comic book series was about. And then of course Black Noir ended up trumping everybody. But that was quite a reveal there. Wait until you get to the baby eating part. That's gonna be fun. But when they took her butt away though, I think that is more, that's probably Eric Kripke's group. That's probably Amazon reaching through and saying, no, we can't have this. This sexualizes women. And we got into a lot of trouble 100%. When we did that lesbian episode that was really sexist toward Queen Maeve. And they got into a lot of trouble with the feminists over that. They've raged today over that still. And that was just about filming a sexist commercial with the girls. That was it. That wasn't even a butt. So that
it wasn't even like a
Amazon, I think, is behind the deflating of firecrackers aft. Aft.
So I can actually give you some evidence to this. If you guys remember, or the evidence that it's Kripke and them making this change. A couple years ago, they added none other than Nicki Minaj as a character in Call of Duty. Whatever reason, sure. If you guys know Nicki, her brand is having a big old butt. Yeah, and her model has a big old butt. And to this day, her model has a big old butt. So this is clearly Amazon coming in and going, no, can't do it. Nope. Like,
because they know for a fact that if they were to turn down a black woman's butt, that there would be uproar from Black Twitter that they would not be able to contain. So it's like, if it's a black woman,
why are you hating on our culture?
Live that long. Yeah. Exactly right.
There you go. This is a better representation of it. So
there you go. See,
so
that is still there.
Hasn't been deflated. And in fact, you can teabag people with that butt. So, and it does have jiggle physics on it. So you can twerk with that.
And even to that point, I saw a lot of people bringing this up on Twitter in response to the article. It's like, oh, so we can't have butt in an M-rated game. Like, that's how you know that this has to be something from Amazon. Because yes, it is just a butt in a game where I have screenshots in that article where she is like blowing bloody brains out all over the place. And that's fine, but you can't have her being a little caked up. Again, they don't like beautiful women. They don't like you being happy, and they don't want you to have
Bootyful.
anything. Bootyful women.
But
They're
speaking
yeah.
of hating things,
well, what do you expect from flat, insecure Karens?
I mean,
Ooh,
I don't expect much, but like that, to your point, Nerdigans, that's who's in charge now.
there's a horrible intersection of misfortune right there. A flat and a Karen. Oh my.
A flat Karen, which is most of them.
Yeah, it's true.
Either that or they're a bubble butt cottage
You know, I
cheese.
don't want to be mean to my adopted sister, but her name is Karen. She is flat and she is very hard to please. So
stereotypes exist for a reason, my friend.
Yeah, you know what? That Connect 4 is 3 out of 4 there. So
well, just get her a bullhorn and then she could be leading a LARP.
She just needs the pixie cut. She just needs the pixie cut. But speaking of stealing identities, we do have Ubisoft, who has decided that they own the Sekigahara gun.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I was sent this the other day by one of my followers, and I couldn't believe it. They said that they wanted me to get the word out on this as soon as possible, and I sent this to Cider, and I'm like, "Do you think we should cover this?" And I wanted to run it by him before I ran it by you because he knows a little bit more about this than I do, obviously. And he's like, "Yeah, we need to jump on this."
And we did.
And we did, and I had more Japanese my Japanese followers sent more info as well because I reached out to them too.
Yep. I just want to show you. We did jump on this, and it did not disappoint. You know, we did 22,000. I can't show it because it's got data on here that I don't want visible. Sorry, guys. There's some backroom stuff with the Bounding YouTube account where I don't know if certain information is supposed to be public. So you just have to trust me that we did 22,000 views on a video talking about this 2 days ago. Okay, this is not one of those ho hum nobody cares situation.
No,
So-
they really do care about it. I mean, a thread I did on IGN's IGN Japan's article talking about Assassin's Creed has over 500,000 views. Like they really are furious.
So what I'm talking about here is this flag in the background. All right, so we have this picture right. Oh, that's tiny. Hold on, see if we can get it blown up nice here so you can see it. There you go. So you see this flag back here. This is in the Assassin's Creed concept art. This isn't from official game art. This is from their concept art that they released as part of their work in progress display. And this flag back here belongs to a 1500s rifle corps. So guns were present in the Sengoku era, and this group there's this flag here you see with the 3 tips to it. There's a specific regiment of soldiers under Nobunaga I believe Nobunaga that were in charge of specifically doing this. And why this matters is that in today's Japan, this flag is used for reenactment ceremonies. And so this reads a little awkward. I'm going to translate what this means. It says, "Sorry for the lack of explanation on the screenshot. The design is used for the flag of the Sekigahara Rifle Corps, used in the Assassin's Creed Shadow concept art. But the design is exactly the same as used by Japanese reenactment specialists. So in Japan, this isn't something you just do. You have to be someone who is authorized by the local historical society to even lay hands on some of this stuff.
Like, you know, in all of our media and stuff out here, like when we see Civil War reenactors, we always sort of have that one guy character who's like way too into it, knows all too much, and is keeping things like way too strict. That guy wouldn't even rank. Like that guy would not make it onto these reenactment squads. That's how
they're using old language even.
Yeah.
So
you basically have to live like them.
This message goes on and it says, "I have contacted you to ask you to address the issue of unauthorized use It is also used to commemorate the souls of who died in the Sekigahara battles that involved the Rifle Corps. And this person can't hide their anger about it. What matters about this is that in the past, Louis Vuitton had a dispute, I believe, with a UK county side over their flag featuring the houndstooth print that Louis Vuitton had been very popular, noted for. And they won the case. They won control of that flag, even though that flag had been around for 100 some odd years. They won because there's no copyright holder. The court had nobody to go, who owns this? And they can't say history owns it. You know, the country owns it because it's a county flag.
Right.
So this is what is the danger of Ubisoft copywriting this. Like they have various kanji that's used in Japanese temples. When you take copyright control of this in your video games, your merchandise, this sort of stuff, you then have the ability to go and say, hey, you guys who are selling Sprite on this hot afternoon while you're running around in period armor, carrying heavy, very, minimalist rifles, running cannons, your Sprite sales means that you can't use this flag that we have in our dumb video game that we lied to everybody about. And that's what the problem is here, is that Ubisoft has the potential ability to disrupt this Rifle Corps from conducting historical reenactments simply because they're charging concession on the same property that the reenactment's happening.
That's insane. And I mean, this just speaks to that, one of the larger problems about, Ubisoft trying to take all this Japanese stuff is, I think we might have touched upon this like a week or two ago, but a lot of stuff in this game, in this trailer, for all the, we're so historically accurate. Yasuke was definitely an actual samurai.
Legendary samurai.
Right. For all of that, they are getting, basic architecture wrong, basic, political things wrong. Like, again, my favorite reference, and I know I talked about this one, is they had a page servant boy on the same seating level as Oda Nobunaga, which would have never happened. You would have been murdered, but if you just looked at the same stage that he was on, right? So that's, it's just sort of the hypocrisy of it all, right? Where they go, Yasuke is real. We're totally historically accurate. That's why you should respect this choice. And then they immediately go, well, we aren't going to try that hard with Japan. We're not going to try that hard. If you guys remember, so one of the big things that people have loved about the Assassin's Creed series is the recreations of the locale, like wherever you're playing, whether that's Baghdad in the ancient times, whether that's the Norse Vinland in the ancient times. A lot of times the Ubisoft team goes through great lengths to make sure all of this stuff is super accurate, to the point where Origins, the Egyptian one, has a museum mode that schools and museums will use to teach kids that you can walk around and see what everything was like. That was, a long time ago, they abandoned sort of the historical accuracy in characters, but they were always like, the setting will always be accurate. It is telling that they, we never heard any complaints like this for Valhalla or Origins or whatever.
No. I don't think we've heard it for any Assassin's Creed game before, ever.
Right.
It's only
the second we go to Japan, they decide, screw it. We can't give them anything. We're not going to put in our effort. We're just going to make it because Yasuke is the most important thing. It's super transparent. And again, you're not fooling anybody. Nobody over there at Ubisoft is fooling anybody. So, and again, the rap theme. I'm still not over the rap theme. That's still my favorite thing.
It's pretty ridiculous. But the Japanese fans have come out and said that they're uncomfortable with Yasuke. They've expressed I'm not saying thousands of people have come out in one single post to blow this up.
No, this has been on every Japanese article that's been tweeted out. I've seen something. Like, I've seen it on Famitsu. I've seen it on 4Gamer. Obviously IGN Japan. I've seen it everywhere. They are not happy.
One of the big problems that we keep hearing from Japanese natives is that Yasuke is being bowed to when he is walking through the streets of Sengoku, Japan. And I guess the Japanese can tolerate the game saying that he's a legendary samurai. They can tolerate him being in full ceremonial regalia, walking around in broad daylight. They can tolerate. I just can't imagine. It's got to be so goofy. But anyway, but they can't deal with this guy being elevated to a place of prominence in their history, and I can understand that. Honestly, if you were to kind of translate it around, it would sort of be the equivalent of Harriet Tubman becoming a bodyguard for George Washington and informing him on how the world works from there.
And I think that's the issue, is that, like, I hear that concept and I smile because I'm like, that could be fun, right? That's sort of like Abraham Lincoln,
despite them not existing in the same time period at all. But
right. But then you have Harriet Tubman find like the Infinity Underground Railroad or something, and she goes back in time.
Infinity Underground Railroad.
But the difference in these scenarios is that in this Harriet Tubman idea, I'm not sitting here going, this is accurate. I am teaching you a lesson about history, right? In Assassin's Creed Shadows, that's what they're doing. They're going, we are teaching you history. This is your history. Enjoy it. Eat this slop. And I think that is like just the entire different intention. I mean, I want to say I heard you talking about this maybe on last week's Major's Briefing Room, Cider, but isn't it like Oda Nobunaga is like basically the closest thing you can get to like a living god in their history, and to just have Yasuke being on his same level or killing him or running his empire, it just
having
feels
sex
like,
with him,
right? That it's the equivalent.
Nobunaga had 24 children.
No time for that. He had to have his lover. That was all
his black gay lover that he imported.
All business. That he didn't even import. That he bought from somebody who imported to him.
He was at the Sengoku era gay club.
It's a homosexual Japanese slave story love thing. Yeah, let's go with
created by white women.
Right. I was gonna say, aren't you so excited by your
white non-binary women?
Yeah, that's true. With blue hair. It's all the things.
If you ever wanted to drown in just a pool of blue cheese listening to this story, like this would do it.
Well, and I have to say, like, this is a really cruel thing to do. I see people in the comments that come through and they're like, what's your problem? It's just a video game. And I said, well, that would be fine if they invented Jeff the Black Samurai and he washed up on shore and he helped Naue free her people from the Templar. Right. That would be an entirely...
That's not even mentioned in this game at all.
Correct.
Haven't you noticed that? And there was no mention of the Templar at all.
Well, no, the Benoit and Dumonte, the two directors of the project, Benoit. He in a Famitsu article, he told them that the Jesuits, the Christians that have arrived 30 years prior, will be the vehicle for the Templar to come through. And that's where the Templar will come through, is they will be the people that brought Yasuke here. Well, in history, our history, they will be the Christians that brought Yasuke here. In the story that we're getting with him is that Chinese pirates blew up his slaver ship and he washed ashore, because we just can't have a guy end up in Japan unless it involves American-style slavery.
He has to be a slave. I know.
Well, he was a slave, but he wasn't an American slave. Let's put it that way. So
no, he was not in. Yeah, he was not on a plantation at all. It is a completely
here's where
different...
it's evil. Yasuke had a miraculous life. When you consider what was going on for people of his skin tone and origin, he had a miraculous life. And we only know a paragraph of it, by the way. Mm-hmm. There is no definite record of this guy even. He doesn't even have a gosh dang surname. Okay? You can't look up Yasuke in the phone book unless he's the only Yasuke. Which means the other thing is that if he doesn't have a surname, he wasn't a samurai. That's the tell. That's something I just recently learned about them, is that when you were made a samurai, you were given a surname. If you were a peasant, you had no surname. It's why the surnames in Japan are all like nature based, because they had to like come up with them like on the go,
like on the spot. Yeah.
Yeah. When they gave up the caste system.
You're cider bark. Yeah, that's you. You're cider bark.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. Cider warm sunset, and that's the best they could come up with, and that's how that's what you got now. but that's what the surnames worked, and they were given to soldiers, and so that's how we know he wasn't a samurai. He was not given a surname. Now, to go on into this,
and he lived.
And he lived too. But here's the thing that I also learned, and as I was going to research more on this, he was not ordered to commit seppuku.
Right.
Now, this is a very important thing, is that seppuku is the dishonorable death of a samurai. They take their own life as
that's the honorable death. Honorable
well,
death.
it's meant for your dishonor, though. It's your dishonor to kill yourself.
Yeah. Well,
because you have
yeah.
failed. You know, that's why you're doing it.
You have failed. You've been dishonored. So to retain what little honor you had left, you take
for your family. And so Yasuke was not given that. And in fact, as Spencer, apparently he was just temporarily held in the prison. And when they figured out that he didn't even speak Japanese, they're just like, okay, go die in the wilderness. We're not even going to feed you here. And they just sent him off.
They literally let him live because of racism. They brought after Yasuke was
sad.
He tried to defend Oda Nobunaga's family. He got beaten,
son.
and
Yep.
his son's family. When he got beaten, the enemy troops took him to their commander and were like, "What are we doing?
What do we do with this?"
And the guy straight, they were like, "Do we kill him? Do we hold him hostage?" And he went, and I'm paraphrasing here. You can find the exact quote. It's even on Wikipedia. But he basically told him, like, look at his skin. Like, he's just an animal. He doesn't know what he's doing. Let him go. He's just like a dog. Would you get mad at a dog for picking up a stick and running through the house? Like, no. Let him go. That's the other end of this.
The other end of this is that Yasuke only spent 15 months with Nobunaga. Yes. And that's barely enough time to learn how to draw the sword and parry a strike. Not even a complicated strike. That's just how to parry it. That's a year and 3 months, guys. That you got to understand when you learn being a samurai, swordsmanship in particular. And I'm not a guy that's done this. I've just watched a lot of videos, studied the history on it because I'm just fascinated. But really, the act of it is not as simple as just drawing this thing and waving it around. It's got a lot more. It's not necessarily tradition behind it, but that weapon is used in a very specific tactic. You are not going to stop a blow like they do in anime with that. You're not going to turn the sword sideways and stop some guy chopping your head off with it. That's how you do serious damage to that blade, by doing that.
Yeah.
And so again, like, what I'm stressing here is that Yasuke had no time to learn how to be part of the battles we're told he's part of. In reality, the battle he's part of is he's delivering Nobunaga's sword to him. He's the golf caddy. Granted, this is a much more honorable position than a golf caddy, because this is the daimyo, this is the regional lord's sword. He kills and performs ceremony with it. It's no joke. But the reality is that Yasuke is not what they're depicting, and the Japanese are very uncomfortable with him smashing the heads off of historical Japanese figures being bowed to in broad daylight in an era where people didn't even know humans looked like him. Like, Nobunaga tried to wash the black off of him several times and eventually just gave up. You know,
he was like, "What is with your skin? Can we, like, what is that?" And he tried to, like, scrub him, and then nothing.
Yeah, and that's where we're at, is that, like, this story is very sad because Yasuke's actual story is quite remarkable, and you could tell a very charming story about a daimyo being fascinated with a foreigner. That's a very interesting Assassin's Creed take on how to deal with slavery in Japan. Okay? That's an intriguing position to put your assassin in, that he has to fight a guy who is an unwilling combatant. That's a very interesting position to put your assassin.
Why do that when we can, get those real big virtue signal points by making yet another story about slavery and black oppression and how
Metatron explained this. Metatron explained this on his video. And I didn't know this. Mm-hmm. Apparently, the average height in Japan was 5'3". I was under the impression it was 5'5". The average male height was 5'3" in Japan. Okay? So that meant that at 5'10", Yasuke was a whole 5 inches taller and every other dimension than these guys.
He was basically
Metatron,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He was Black Big Show showing up to their WWE Son Goku era, you know? And what happened was they couldn't fit armor to him. So Nobunaga was just fascinated by having this tank of a human being following him around. Like, nobody's going to screw with me if I have a tree following me. You know, and that's what he was. So they didn't even make him custom armor because, again, they didn't have time. He wasn't there in Nobunaga's service long enough. So he was wearing combination armor that they made fit him, meaning they pounded it flatter so it could go further across his chest. So he wasn't even properly protected. And that's what Metatron showed us, is he has a friend who's basically the build of how Yasuke was described in the very limited information we have about him. And they fit period armor to him, and it was basically like an adult trying to wear the dollar store ninja costume. It didn't. They couldn't even tie it.
Kid's costume, right?
Yeah, the kid's costume. It couldn't even tie the armor around him on the back. The chest piece stopped before the edge of his rib roll.
Ooh.
You know, so that was pointless.
Yeah, he's just looking weird while he's walking out there.
Exactly, but what it made it look like is he was a giant.
Right.
Because if he was wearing normal-sized armor on a guy that's 5 inches taller than everybody else, well, there's your Oni. There's your you know, walking shadow of Mount Fuji, you know? And that's what it was, is that then that's how Metatron explained it, is he was like, of course Nobunaga wanted this guy following him around, whether he knew what he was doing or not. People would see a guy that was like 2 heads taller than everyone else and say, you know what? I don't have a problem with Nobunaga. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, let him through. No, yes, sir. Here, go right ahead. We have your room ready for you. But I mean, see that the problem there is like, that explanation is super interesting. Like cobbled together armor being used as like the Oni. There's a lot you could do there, but it's like I said, none of that matters because it's Japan and Western devs do not care about Japan in the slightest. Hell, I would argue that they're actively racist against them. Like we saw it with Simon Bennett. We saw it with
non-Asian eyes
localizers, right? The non-Asian eyes from Ubisoft. Like they don't like Japan. So these people are so dedicated to their message and promoting their way of thinking that they can't for a second step back and go, could we do something fun here? No, they have to make it again, black slave story, African or Barbary slave trade story, even though it's in Japan. Like it's really pathetic. You can see how transparent it is, and I don't have any hope for this game. I don't know why anybody would at this point, aside from the fact that it's being butchered of it's butchering Japanese culture. It's Ubisoft. Yeah, hit me.
The other thing that pissed people off. The other things that pissed people off is that they're being forced to play as Yasuke. They don't like. They would like to be able to have a choice. Like if they.
Well, that's something
that would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, like that's what I pointed out before, is that this is the first Assassin's Creed game where you have 2 like gendered protagonists and you have to play as them. Like you don't create or select a character. The last couple games, when you load it up, it said, would you like to play as the female version of the character or the male version of the character? There was always one of them that was canon specifically, but they gave you the option. This game, they say, no, you have to play as these characters. It's the Fable thing again, where they're going, we are establishing this character. You have no choice in it. You have to play this the way we want you to play it. And it's just like, okay, very transparent. You're forcing everybody to engage with that story instead of letting them either, you know, pick their own version of it or play as Naue. Like specifically, it is, you're seeing the final intersection of players don't want this, but developers think you want that, and so they're going to make you play it. So we're obviously we'll keep following this as it goes on, but I don't see any positive to any of this story unless they come out like next week and they go, we are ground up like rebooting this. Sorry everybody, we're really sorry. There's no real hope coming out like of the situation.
That's not good.
Same with Star Wars. There's no hope coming out of Star Wars either, especially when you have a villain called Dark Teeth.
Yeah, so we have that to talk about.
Yeah, we should definitely close out the show with Star Wars. Here we are.
So you'll hear people talking about the pronoun thing, okay? But that actually is the circus trick of look over here, don't pay attention to what actually happened. So
no,
there are pronouns in this, but it's just such a quick thing, it doesn't matter, really. And they knew that.
It is a very quick thing. It is so Acolyte episode 4, we finally got it. It is probably one of the most boring episodes of anything ever produced. Like, and that's again, there's just nothing happening in that episode.
There are more interesting episodes of how it's made.
They're really, I love how it's made. I'm not even going to be apologetic about that. Expand your brain. But yes, the big reveal in this episode was the first official introduction of pronoun. The term I used in the article, and I came up with this, I don't know if it's a real thing, but like pronoun awareness, like that. This is the first time we've ever gotten that in a live action Star Wars film or project. Long story short, basically Amanda Stenberg's character there encounters an otter alien. It gets into a fight with her robot. She goes over to Daphne Keen's character to, ask her a question about who that is. And she goes, is he or they with us? And, so she assumes it's gender, corrects herself. That, like Cider said, is it's stupid, and it is the first official introduction of pronouns in live action Star Wars. It's been in books and stuff before, especially all the High Republic stuff. All the High Republic stuff makes sure to highlight like pronouns at every turn. There's even in the article on Bounding, there was a page I included where mid-fight, one of the Jedi corrects another Jedi on another Jedi's pronouns. So it's all there. But like Cider said, it is definitely the look over here. We're doing this. And I believe, Cider, you're talking about the complete lack of budget for everything. The fact that nothing is happening over here.
Well, there's other things too. Because see, what I like to do is I like to listen to reviews of this stuff and then go hunt down the clips of it. We can't show it here, obviously. We got the channel nailed. But what happens is May, our dark bad person who wears Twizzler hair, the same hairstyle, by the way, as her twin that she was separated for 20 years from, but whatever.
Right, yeah.
So what we have here is we have May, and May is now able to fly. Like, they go to the Jedi Wookiee house, and she's there. And at the Jedi Wookiee house, she's they go there with her sister Osha, who's featured here. Osha's the one who wears lighter colors. That's how you know she's the good person. And so, and
that's so sad.
It really is. It's really dumb. So here we have Osha, and so she is standing behind the other Jedi as they're like, "We know you're in there. Y'all come out now with your lightsaber held high." And but rather than that, inexplicably, May leaves the Chewbacca Jedi's house, and like flying nun levitates down behind like Shaolin, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I was gonna say Crouching Tiger,
wait silently down behind May, and May's like, "Oh my god!" And then they do the whole get out of my way force swipe thing. The Smilo Ren shows up and pushes May and Osha out of the way, and then does a force queef and forces all of the Jedi to fall over. And they fall over. And then the episode's really like, dumb. Wasn't that scary? Here's the credits.
It really is that dumb. Do you guys know? So in the trailer, you guys have seen this scene. In the trailer, it's that one scene it's where all the Jedi, there's like that lineup of Jedi, and they all whip out their lightsabers, like, do. And then the Sith opens up his and just pushes them away. You can see it in all the trailers. That's how they end the episode. They think it's this big, whoa, like he's so powerful. Right. And then it's just like, that wasn't anything. What were we even here for? Like, literally nothing.
Right. And so, but the other thing that happened here is the Wookiee Jedi that we have been shown just hanging out in this swamp Shrek style by himself, notably with a man bun, because the Wookiees just have to get it too.
It looks so weird, yeah.
It was really dumb. Like, shaving a Wookiee, never a good idea. It's like shaving your Scotty dog. Nobody likes that.
Like, don't do it.
Yeah, they're supposed to be long hair collie aliens. But anyway, he bites the dust. without ever swinging his lightsaber, doing any force anything. He doesn't even get to run up a railing like Trinity did.
Nope.
He just gets ended, like wasted GTA style. Now, on Twitter, I don't have the screenshot. I lost it from this morning, and I didn't bookmark it because I'm a genius. But one of the showrunners, or one of the people that's in charge of the show's coordination,
production,
yeah, showed up and said in reply to one of the interviewers asking about what happened with that, why that Jedi just bit it before having a fight, and they said, "We didn't have the budget to have the Wookiee have a lightsaber battle."
Now, everyone, I want to ask you, what is wrong with that one sentence Cider just quoted? I believe it's the fact that this series has a budget of fucking $180 million.
Each individual episode. Each individual episode costs more than Godzilla -1.
Right.
There's like appropriation of
hand
funds
over hand.
There's
it's what Jacob's always talking about. This has to be money laundering. What the hell is going on where you can't have, and again, this is not 1999, this is not 1977. You can do a jet, and this is Disney with their stupid volume and their stupid CG teams. You could do it might not be great, but you absolutely have the capability to put that on screen for relatively cheap and relatively easily. There is no excuse for saying we didn't want to have a Jedi battle. There's none. Like, except for crime reasons. Crime reasons are the only. Where did all that money go? Like, it's just. Are they all bailing out Bob Iger? Are they all trying to pay off? Yeah, probably Ukraine.
Into their pockets.
Ukraine.
It's going into their pockets. It's going into Ukraine. It's going into
cocaine and hookers.
Well,
I would be happier if that's where it was going.
The funny thing is that Leslie Headland is the former feeder to Harvey Weinstein. Now, the important part about that statement is that she has a habit, or rather a talent, at making bad news disappear. So if you're wondering, maybe
she has
why
money disappear.
Right. So if you're wondering maybe why this weirdo who looks like a Lego minifig is doing Star Wars so wrong, so backwards, and so upside down, with no credit before this, with no backing in the entire franchise itself, and simply a presence in the Hollywood machine, well, I'm going to tell you it's got less to do with her being able to read a Wikipedia page and more about her being able to understand who's in Congress and what they take to buy off, what it takes to buy them off. I have a feeling.
She has info on Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy.
It doesn't even have to be that simple, right? It could be the other way around. They have information on her, and because she has the connections they want, they give her all that she wants, and then she makes money disappear that they build houses out of.
That is true.
I mean, there's that. Like, there are so
Harvey
many
files.
Like,
yes.
there are so many like conspiracy theories that I'm coming up with in my head because I don't know how Leslie Headland got her own show. I mean, didn't you point this out like the first week that the show was on, Cider, that the first 3 names in the credit are all her? Like, it's like directed by, created by, written by, like designed
directed,
by,
created,
all of that stuff.
And produced are all her.
That's right, and the producer one. Like,
but the other thing, it's now come out. I forget what, I think it was a Variety article that posted this yesterday. She said in an interview that nobody, or at least maybe it was another person on the crew said this. One of the actors said there were no auditions. Leslie Headland was allowed to hire whoever she wanted. She was given whatever she wanted for sets, locations, effects. There was no. She even had Dave Filoni on speed dial. Spencer.
They even said the one that always makes me baffles me is they gave her carte blanche to use any EU stuff she wanted. They straight up said all this stuff that we have decanonized.
You want to do Kodor? Do Kodor.
Right. Do Kodor. They opened up everything for her.
And
they haven't even done that for Filoni. They haven't even done that for Filoni.
Yeah, him and his gay hat. Him and his gay hat didn't even get to do that.
I vote for the hat.
But they've quoted.
Hold on a second. But why Star Wars of all things? Why did she want Star Wars of all things?
I don't think she wanted it. I think that was what they gave her, and they said you can do whatever you want with this, but you got to make money disappear in association with it. And the thing is, but listen, think about it. When you go to have to explain this to the IRS, let's say that Trump gets in, he wants to start making things legal beagle above board and strips out the IRS of all the funny talk. So you got to explain where your money went, right? You can't just hide it. So let's say that happens. They can say that this Star Wars production was very, very expensive now. They can say that. And they can say it's because we gave this woman all this control. And they don't have to explain to the IRS that was a dumb idea. They just have to explain to the IRS that they did it. And this is the cover for the money laundering, in my opinion, is that this is what the cover is that Leslie's in charge of it because she has the ability to make this stuff disappear. But they gave it a gigantic budget because they can blame that money on all the locations, the sets, the special effects.
The green
screen. They can blame it. Right, the volume renting, all that stuff.
Disney has gotten to the point, and we mentioned this with the MCU so many times, where they've literally gaslit everyone, and that they can know it literally costs us like $300 million just to do the special effects for all of our movies.
Now,
and then, like I said,
go ahead.
No, then Japan comes along. It's like, yeah, we did this movie for like a box of
couch
like
money.
Popeye's chicken and like a quarter that we
and
found.
Everybody loved it.
Yeah. Well, so this is the thing is so they've beaten Star Wars down to a place where nobody's paying attention to it. So when it comes to writing off losses, guess what? The narrative's there. The sales are down. We're not appealing to a mass audience anymore, and we're losing $128 million on an 8-episode production. You can explain that to Congress, right? Mm-hmm. You can explain all that to Congress if the brand is in wreckage. So if they're sitting there saying, we got to crash this thing, so then we can blame all the money we're dumping out of our economy into our secret economy on it, then we've got to make it crappy enough to justify saying it's a loss. Enter Leslie Headland and the musical space witches that make babies by themselves. And this is what I'm talking about is that like you now have a railroad to get $128 million off the books. And nobody can question it because the evidence of what you're going to claim that, oh, it costs so much to make because we just gave her a blank check. We like Leslie so much. We didn't want to make the lesbian community mad at us. You know, they've got all these excuses now that the IRS can't prosecute over. There it is. It's that simple.
So they just get to walk away with it in Star Wars. And I mean, that of all the properties to use, like to your point, Nerdigans and Cider, it's like, why not Star Wars? That's the most believable one where everything is going to fail. We haven't seen a good Star Wars thing in ever, or like
14 years.
Rogue
it was
One, maybe
Clone Wars, right?
Clone Wars, yeah. Honestly, that's what I
think
would
everybody
say.
can agree that Clone Wars, the show was good. So
yeah,
that's about 14 years now, I think.
And so, yeah, like, why not give it to Leslie Headland? Why not let her crash it on her own? I mean, it makes complete sense to me. And like, I have no refutation against it. Like, it all sort of slides right in there to give them smoke screens, to provide them cover. And yeah, of all the things to use Star Wars. Nobody at this point, outside of the very hardcore Wikipedia editors, it's not got that big of a fan base anymore. It's definitely not the cultural from nowadays. You say Star Wars, you are more likely to get an eye roll and a whatever dude than you would have at any point in the past, even when people thought it was just for nerds. Like, that's how bad we've gotten with Star Wars. So have fun, Leslie Headland, I guess. Like, this show is just, it's so bad. They didn't try to make a Star Wars thing.
I mean,
it's just,
more people are more excited for Spaceballs 2 than this.
Are they though? Or are they really?
Right? Yeah, like I'm kind of out on that one. They literally made fun of that in the first movie. So now they're coming back for it, and it's like I would be on board with the series if Mel Brooks just came out and said, I wanted money. Like, I'm doing this for money. Do that, and I would be
merchandise in the movie.
Right. Like, that's what I'm saying is like they made fun of this and now they're going to do it. Like, we are going to see, everybody, we are going to see Spaceballs Funko Pops. We're going to see Spaceballs like Croc Charms, whatever those things are called. We're going to see probably a Spaceballs variant cover for the Marvel Star Wars comics. Like they're just going. I trust Mel Brooks to do something funny because he's good, and I think if anybody could do a sequel and make it a good satire, it's him. But I also just don't trust Hollywood. I don't trust anybody to let him have his creative vision, right?
Well, no, you got to understand. Josh Gad is in charge of this. Mel Brooks is the walking corpse that they're stretching over it to give it legitimacy to people who even remember this freaking movie. Okay, this is the thing you got to remember. This movie came out when all of us were negative years old. Okay, so
we all saw this. It was a classic already. Like when we all saw it, it was like, this is a classic. You got to see it.
It was on TNT. Late night. You were staying up late, and your parents were like, "Okay, we can watch Spaceballs. You're old enough now." You get the joke. It's a penis. Haha. That kind of thing. But anyway, that's what this is. So Josh Gad, the guy that was the voice of Olaf. And the guy that was the gay sidekick to Gaston in the live-action Beauty and the Beast movie, meaning he's basically Disney's, bitch.
Yes, he is.
He's owned by them, but he's not working for them on this project. This is through Amazon that's doing this. Now, the thing is, what I want to stress about this is that he is on record saying that they should have been gayer with LeFou in Beauty and the Beast. So this is what you're going to get, you're going to get a gay Spaceballs.
Now I hear that, and it's all valid. I have 2 points to bring up that will not white pill us, but it's just context to add to this. So, one's context, one is just my own personal take on it. So with his commentary about LeFou being gay, I am sort of on his side because playing with the cards that are dealt, if you are going to be Disney and go, look, we have a gay character. It's so gay. Come see gay. Like it's in here. And it all amounts to they looked at each other funny. That's just like plain insulting to everybody, whether you're straight or gay. So like,
but what about lesbian ghosts though? Well, what about lesbian ghosts?
Lesbian ghosts are completely fine. Lesbian ghosts, lesbian twin sisters. I'm completely on board with that. But the second point is that while Josh Gad is very, very much this neoliberal, Hollywood leftist, what people should know is that he actually he's been a consultant on South Park for the last like 12 years. The man is actually pretty damn funny and pretty damn raunchy. He was the second lead in the Broadway performance of Book of Mormon, which is the South Park guys musical. So during that run, he got to talking with Matt and Trey, and they brought him on. You can go look at all the credits, and it's really weird because it says consultants, Trey, Matt, Josh Gad. Like Josh Berger and I, the other day, we saw that, and we like spent 30 minutes researching. We were like, oh, that's the guy. So I'm not saying that this is going to be great or he's not going to do any of that stuff, but he's at least not the worst. He's not Seth Rogen.
No, yeah. Because when I heard Josh Gad's name before, when I read it the first time, I was like, I knew I saw it somewhere. And then you mentioned Book of Mormon. It's like, oh yeah, that's where
he got his start. And then after that, it was Frozen and everything. Yeah. Now he's Disney's bitch, 100%. But there was a period before they got they got their fangs in him.
So I want to ask then. My theory on this is he's going to play Gay Borf Jr., like the son of John Candy. And he's going to be a gay space dog. And he's not in love with the female star. Oh gosh, I forgot the star. Who's the?
I could not tell you anybody in that movie except for John Candy and Mel Brooks.
Hold on. Cast. Princess Vespa's in. I just can't ever remember the main character. Lone Star. Jeez, I always forget the main character's name. So it'll be like a female Lone Star descendant of Vespa and Lone Star. So it'll be like their kid, and she's a girl, and she's like got a gay best friend who is Borf Jr., who's extravagantly gay. And so they go around in like a sequined Liberace Winnebago from the 90s that has a slide out with a disco ball.
See, I'd watch that though. That's funny.
But I think that's what they're gonna do, because you tell me Josh is funny, and if you're gonna like be DEI funny, right? You put a woman who can't drive in an overblown SUV RV thing, and her gay best friend is a fat dog.
Yes.
Okay, that is. Oh, we've got an RKO.
Yeah. Lone Star.
Just listening to this whole thing, and the fact that it could very well be a possibility just reminded me of this.
I can't do this.
And copyright strike. Oh,
I
nope,
can't do this. We got like
Hit the
5
wrong
seconds.
button.
We're good. We're okay.
Yeah, well, we can hope anyway, right? But we do have a member chat from
Chat.
Pinochet's
Pinochet's.
helicopter tours.
Tony says, at what point can we acknowledge that they'll never compare to the original because they aren't allowed to? I'd use their ideology as a cudgel on them. So we are seeing that more and more. Like we are seeing a lot more like individuals reaping what they've sowed. My favorite is still Anita Sarkeesian saying, oh, why are like games are woke now, but it's bad. And then there was Sung-Wan Cho saying, why am I only getting Asian roles suggested to me? And then obviously it was because he was a giant proponent of authentic casting. So we are seeing it used as a cudgel in certain places. Like but I think the big problem here is like what Cider is saying is Josh Gad's here and he is now a Disney like slave, but also the DEI-ness of everything now. How do you get away with the safe sort of jokes, right? Like, for example, one of my favorite jokes in a Mel Brooks movie is from Robin Hood Men in Tights. And it's when they come across Mel Brooks and he's the rabbi and he's like going to the other town or whatever. And he goes like, oh, who are you boys or whatever? And they go, I am Robin Hood and these are my men in tights. And he goes, oh, Faglish? And he goes like that, and everybody's like super confused. And he's like, no others to me how you spend your time. Like that's a funny joke because it's playing on Yiddish. It's playing on like the fact that they're all guys. We won't have anything like that. You could not even say the 3 letters that start that funny word for fear of getting hit pieces, think pieces, podcasts, all of this. I
tell people all the time this, but I do want to say something about this right now. So we got Pinochet's helicopter tours. There's a member of 35 months. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But so a movie like You Can't Beat the Zohan.
Yeah.
That could not be made now.
No.
You could not create a Scrappy Coco Mossad super agent who is like 2 pubic hairs away from being a gay man. You can't do it anymore. You cannot do it. They will not allow anything like You Can't Beat the Zohan to exist. And that isn't even as crazy as what Mel Brooks did in that. Because they do the same thing to Zohan. His father is scolding him over his interest in cutting hair. And he says, oh, Zohan's a fagula. He's a fagula. And Mom's like, he's a fagula. They're teaching, and that's FAG. In the
real
Yiddish?
world, or
in Yiddish? Is that what it is?
Yiddish, yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to call it Israeli because that's not not correct.
Hebrew.
But
Hebrew.
It's not Hebrew. It's Yiddish. But you know what else couldn't be made today is the producers because of Springtime for Hitler.
Yep, you're right.
Right.
That movie where Hitler traveled in time, the Isekai Hitler that came to the future, and everybody thought he was really cool.
That movie is actually really fucking funny. That movie is,
but they can't make it.
I know, but that movie is so good.
Yeah.
Oh man,
he's back. That's right. He's back.
That's what it was. He's back. Yeah. Like this all reminds me. There is an argument that is brought up all the time, and it's so funny. So we see a lot more, whether they're like commentators, like in our sphere, or like celebrities, like Jerry Seinfeld. Right. Lots more people are coming out and being like, it's way too PC these days. We can't make a lot of humor. Like it's just too hard. The same, like, you can't be too offensive. You can't say anything too wrong. The same defense is always trotted out. People will always go, well, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is still on the airs. That's the most offensive thing ever. They're always swearing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but guess what? You guys have literally complained to the point where there are like 7 or 8 episodes of It's Always Sunny that are banned, that aren't on streaming, that aren't released on DVD anymore because you guys all shit your pants. So
they literally had to reference the fact that all other Lethal Weapon episodes have been removed from all streaming services now, and a new episode of Always Sunny. That's how bad it's gotten.
It's like, so like my point to all that is, yes, there is a stark dampening happening on comedy. I don't know what that will do for Mel Brooks. I can't even remember the last time Mel Brooks made an original thing.
Neither can
Like-
Mel Brooks. Don't worry. He's
Yeah,
93.
I know, yeah,
he doesn't know
honestly,
where he is right now.
Dude, team him up. Like it's him, Joe Biden, and Dick Van Dyke. Team them all up, and it's just going to be like, where will they
I think
wander?
Dick's dead.
Like, let them go. No, Dick's alive. He just won like an Emmy, like last week.
Wait, he's like 100 years old.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Dick Van Dyke is eternal. He's not.
He was old when Dirt was young.
when God created the heavens and the earth, he had already
Right.
been around for like a week.
He was in college when Jesus was hauling crosses across Damascus.
Yeah, but like, see, I would watch a show where you put all three of them in a pen and just let them wander. Like, let's see what happens. the doddering old
Zara,
man
you
show.
think they're funny too, huh, Kitty?
I just like to envision Jesus as a trucker. I just,
Dude, there is I don't know
It's
if you've
funny.
seen it, but there's a show called American Dad, and there's an episode where
Yes.
Jesus shows up, but he's like a handyman and he's wearing like a trucker hat and everything. It's really funny, but that's what it
Yep.
reminded me of. But yeah, no real hope for Spaceballs, no real hope for film or comedy. I mean, that's kind of
Star
where I
Wars.
am out here.
What about Lethal
Star Wars.
Weapon? Do you think anyone, the Mel Gibson directed Lethal Weapon that's coming?
I kind of don't care. Like
I mean, Yellow Flash put it perfectly. It's like he was too old for this shit, and Lethal Weapon 1. It's like-
yeah, right. And so it's gonna feel worse this
That's
time.
the line.
Like
Yeah.
all the jokes that like Cider and Jacob made earlier in the show about like Mahershala is gonna be 900 years old when he's Blade. He's gonna be using a walker to ice skate uphill. That is what will actually happen. Like here, if they do that.
Mel
that
Gibson
movie.
is
Like-
68. What are you going to Lethal Weapon at 68, Mr. Gibson? Are you planning on
already-
having a stunt double that you just face
Right.
away from the camera all the time while another guy like parkours with a wig?
I love Mel Gibson as an action hero, but what was that movie? He did like a Taken ripoff back in like 2012 or something. Like
yeah,
I
it was
don't
about
remember
him
what-
being an enraged detective, and it was
Yeah,
rage. That's
and,
what it
like-
was. It was rage.
Oh man, did
That's,
art
yeah. But like even at that point, I was already like, dude, you're old. Like I don't believe this.
Yeah,
This is-
yeah, right.
this
That
is
was right
rough.
after the sugar tits thing.
Yep. And now he's coming back for Lethal Weapon. Here's my thing. I feel my reaction is like, why are we here? This is gonna be bad. Also, Mel Gibson, you're old as hell. My counter to that is the fact that apparently Bad Boys 4 is killing it and people love it. And for whatever reason, like maybe everybody is just waiting for a Lethal Weapon movie. Maybe that'll be. Are they even getting Danny Glover? That dude is like.
Pro cop is probably gonna be a thing. The pendulum's swinging, so pro cop is probably gonna be a win. So yeah, Lethal Weapon probably will do well because it's two old cops that have to deal with a young precinct that doesn't want to enforce the law because it's too uncomfy. And you got two guys that are too old for this PC
like
shit.
that.
You see?
I like that. Yeah.
And that's probably the
see
angle
this.
Mel will go with is the Expendables, but with a
I
badge.
keep forgetting Mel's there. I keep forgetting Mel is there, even though we keep saying his name. And yeah, if
And what
Mel's at the
astonishes me is
helm-
Danny Glover will be seen on the same screen as Mel Gibson. Those two guys couldn't be further apart on the political spectrum. That
No,
to me.
they are like DNC and then like QAnon. Like they are like, and that's an
Right.
exaggeration. Like that's an exaggeration.
It's
but
not
that's-
too far
that's the
off,
divide.
though.
I know.
Like, yeah, I could see where this is going, and it can work, and it would be good, and it would get audience and seeds.
Which is probably what they won't do. So
Which is they probably won't do it. They'll probably. I feel like unless he produces this himself or has like full creative control, whatever.
It's a
hotshot
Leslie
producer they
Headland
put
deal?
on it, right? Like whatever happens if they put a Leslie Headland on this, we're done. We're like it's just there's they'll do that. Like to me, it feels like nobody wants to give. Everybody is still hung up on all of his past transgressions with the Jew statements and the sugar tits, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like, to this day, nobody wants to give him the time of day. So if they are going to go, like, who is it? Universal? Like, Universal is going to do it. They'll go, okay, but we're going to humiliate you. Like, you're not going to get what you want. You're going to do it by our rules. And it's just going to be
Zeb Wells
sad.
is writing.
No! I'm leaving. Bye.
That's what they do.
Nope.
And he left just like that. He could take himself out of the studio without totally leaving the studio, but I'm not sure he knows that part because Spencer uses OBS to stream, so his devices are not connected. So this joke is taking a little. Oh, there it is. All right.
I'm contractually obligated to return.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so there's the Shady Acres for Action Heroes is now geezer teasers. That's what they call them. The geezer
teasers. I kind of like that. I mean,
yeah.
I think you saw Expendables 4, right, Jacob? Like that was bad. Like we just need to stop.
I saw it.
Like,
that was bad.
Yeah, you did too.
And you could tell the reason why Stallone left is because they were trying to squeeze him out of the franchise, and I honestly can't tell if they thought Megan Fox was going to be the person to carry this into the atmosphere. He left the franchise, and they had to bring him back for the ending because it's like if he goes, then this whole franchise is dead. It's like you guys figured that out before you started shooting a single second of this movie.
Well, like what makes me laugh is like, okay, the Expendables as a concept could have been interesting. You have all, in the meta sense, it's like every new series you get, or every new film, you get to see a bunch of old action heroes just do action hero stuff. It's not that deep.
Like
but
the first
problem,
good.
right? The first like 2 were like pretty good. 3 is all right, but then 4 is a disaster. The problem is, like, and that's what like Megan Fox and 50 Cent being there kind of represent. We don't have any more action heroes. We don't have any like main leads. You can't cast anybody anymore, right? Like. What
are you gonna do? Like in 5 years, are you gonna get like all the MCU actors for an Expendables movie?
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say like Expendables 9, Avengers like 11, like that's what it's gonna be. And it's just like, again, like we're in
Expendables 9 is gonna be like a super old Robert Downey Jr., like Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, and like maybe Brie Larson makes a cameo.
No, it just
She's
got
their handler.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what happens. Expendables 9, right, is all the old MCU stars because they're the only action heroes that are still alive to do this, right? So it's all the old MCUs. However, the crossover happens. There's a crossover.
With DC?
No. So you have the Expendables, and they're crossing over with, and it just zapped out of my head.
With the
the A-Team.
No, they have there's another old people Fast and Furious. No, Fast and Furious. So Fast XXX will be Fast 30 will be the Expendables and the Fast and Furious teaming up. And it's gonna be MCU actors at the Expendables.
It's gonna be Vin Diesel versus Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, exactly. But old Chris Hemsworth, who's just fat Thor now on purpose.
And old Vin Diesel.
No, why not just have Vin Diesel versus The Rock though? Because they hate each other anyway.
Well, that's actually going to happen in the last Fast and Furious movie now. So,
but they're too old to do this. This is the thing: is that Chris Pratt is going to end up inheriting the family. And the family will slowly be replaced with other aged MCU stars. So you're going to see Chris Pratt come through and be the new Dom. He'll be the new like Irish themed leader of the
Michelle
gang.
Rodriguez will be replaced by Zoe Saldana, Gamora.
Yeah,
like there we go.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it'll be exactly. They'll just do Guardians of the Galaxy with the family. You'll have Batista come in as like an uncle, right? You'll be an uncle. And you'll have Vin Diesel doing the Groot thing, but it'll be like a dog bark. He'll be like a pit bull. He'll be like a dog bark on a pit bull.
That's what's going to happen,
right? And he'll be the dog, and he's a rider with the uncle. So it's him and Batista. And it's Vin Diesel just voicing the dog noises. Yeah, it's just dog noises.
This is so awful. This is so bad.
But you can see it. That's the worst part. Is you can see it.
I can. But the worst part, I think, to me is like Batista in a lead role. He hasn't really done that. That's going to be a lead.
In a Fast movie, lead? What do you mean?
I know.
If you're not Vin or The Rock, you're just there to get like knocked off the road.
Well, it's the difference between 5 minutes of screen time and 30 seconds before you get knocked off the road.
It's true. It's true. Or you get to like bring down a parking garage with your fucking heel.
Yeah, exactly.
Superhero.
So awesome.
You got to add John Cena into that Fast and the Furious cast.
Fast and Expendable. There it is.
Fast and Expendable.
Fast Triple X. Fast Triple X. The Fast and the Expendable.
That'll be like the 2-parter, right? Like it's like when you have like
a 5-parter. They can't do 2 anymore. They're gonna do 5-parter.
They're gonna do.
Batista needs his own standalone movie with the dog.
They'll make it a cinematic universe. That'll be the streaming show.
And it's a time travel adventure. So he ends up going into the future, and he has to come back and tell everybody the future's really bad.
And it's completely canon to the next
exactly.
Movie, and you have to watch it.
Yeah. You have to see it because the 5th movie directly ties into that time travel adventure.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
Does the time traveling adventure involve going into the Doctor Who timeline and saving Doctor Who?
Nothing's going to save Doctor Who at this point.
If Disney ends up buying Fast and Furious and the Expendable, which at this rate they probably will, so if they end up, why not? They'll just make it like the ultimate showdown, and like every brand they have will just be Fortniting into this movie.
Well, like, did you ever see Wreck-It Ralph or Breaks the Internet, like the second one?
No, I saved myself.
I only watched it because I had a friend who worked on it, and I was like, I'm going to support you. And then I immediately got out of the theater, and I was like, I hate you. I'm never watching it again. But there's a scene in that movie where like Ralph and Vanellope go into the internet, and then they go to like Disney.com, and it is just like Marvel logo, Star Wars. Look, there's an X-Wing. Look, the Disney princesses are here. Hey, look, it's Bambi. Like, it's just that. Like, it is just like, look at all the stuff we own. Give me money for having the stuff I own. Like, it's so weird. Kind of like what?
Kind of like Space Jam 2, but less creative.
Yeah. I don't even know if I would say that. Space Jam 2 is highly uncreative. It's a sequel, and it's bad.
No,
it's all the stroke.
I get the comparison, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was all the stroke LeBron James ego. That was it.
Yep.
It was all the stroke his ego and
King James.
Has he even won a championship since then? Get him out of my face. I don't want to talk to him anymore.
I mean, his last title was in the bubble, so you have to ask, was that really a title?
That's right. That's right. And it does. I don't count them. I don't count that. I don't count the Dodgers win for the World Series. I don't count bubble wins.
Yeah.
Daffy dissed this dude, and it ended his career, man. He's just been playing to end out the contract. Daffy dissed his ass, and that was it for King James.
Daffy, when you step to Daffy, you better not miss. And clearly LeBron missed.
Don't worry, I'm supposed to blow something up here today. I mean, I'm all.
What do we have to blow up?
Where's our Shamu missile?
Nope. I didn't. I got lost in the sauce. I'm sorry. I got lost in the sauce.
There's no teeth to blow up.
We're just we're recalibrating the cannon. We're switching out its power supply. Temporary maintenance down.
I wanted my Shamu missile.
Sorry, I got caught up in it.
Cider now owes us 3 Shamu missiles with interest. But yeah, I think
there we go.
Here at the end of it, anybody got anything else they want to talk about? Any other subjects? Nerdigans, Jacob, Cider?
No, but since Nerdigans is here, I was gonna ask, so are we still on for Digimon 2 on Friday, or what's it?
Yes, I need to, now that I have
Nerdigans and anime.
Yeah, I gotta now that I have the Boruto chapter that I'm gonna cover after this, I can watch Digimon in the morning, and I will be or tomorrow or Thursday, and I'll be okay.
All right, then. So probably on Friday.
Yeah,
we'll stream it.
I'm so tired, but yeah, I'll watch it tomorrow, and then I'll be good for Friday.
Yeah, so all I have to say is that Yolei's character design is basically just imagine if like Nerdigans like dyed her hair pink and she looks exactly like Nerdigans.
I've seen their character design. I don't look like Yoli.
Oh. Well, it's too late.
Nobody wants to look like Yoli. That's the point of Yoli.
But now you just have to you have to play the cards you're dealt, Nerdigans. This is your fate. This is what you were made for.
They saw your picture and they were like, that's Yoli in real life. Let's just make Nerdigans Yoli and not tell her. And when she finds out, we'll go, surprise! Excuse me, surprise!
Surprise! Yeah, surprise.
Surprise!
We surprise. Surprise! But yeah, I guess if I guess because Nerdigans brought it up, I'll just give one quick statement. Doctor Who ratings are in the toilet. Nobody is watching it. It for the second time this season, it broke the record for lowest overnight numbers in the franchise history. So keep your eye on Bounding Into Comics. We'll clearly be following that the entire way because Russell T Davies was so confident that his return was going to save everything, and it is an unmitigated objective disaster. But with that with that being said, obviously we are at the end of our show. So before we get out of here, I'm going to let everybody know what they've got going on. Obviously, Jacob and Nerdigans have a Digimon watch through, but in addition to that, I'll let the man himself let you know what they've got going on.
Yeah, so I guess Friday, me and Nerdigans are going to be talking about the Digimon O2 Adventure movie that just got released not too long ago, and whether it was worth it, and whether it makes season 2 any better or any worse, or it makes it right around the same level. We'll talk about that on Friday. I think we'll do what? Because Spencer, you got a show on Friday? Because if you got a show on Friday, we can do it at 10 p.m. So Eastern time.
I've got a show on Friday, but you can always overlap, or I can show up later. We can work it.
yeah. So we'll work it at like 10 p.m. Eastern time. Do like a normal
Works
time
for me.
there.
Yeah.
So got that coming up. Bible Ends. We'll be hitting another interesting topic on Sunday show at 7 p.m. We'll be talking about if trans kids.
One.
No, actually, we got 2 more left. In the Pride Month.
Really? That's right. It shows on Sunday now. That's right. Yeah. We have 2 more. Yes.
So this one will be about if trans kids is actually modern day Moloch worship, and we'll have to talk about what the Bible says about Moloch and what people did to children, and it's gonna be pretty disturbing to see how that ended. So that's gonna be on Sunday's episode. We did the Barroom last night's episode as well. We got another one coming up this week. Our good buddy John, who hadn't been on the show for like 2 years, actually showed up last night, so that was interesting. And that's all I got. I know I got 2 movie reviews to come up with. I'm gonna have to get those edited tomorrow and get those sent in. So you should see those on Friday with the written portion and the video portion as well. So that's everything I got coming up for right now. So
awesome. Yeah, go subscribe. Go check out everything. They're my favorite shows. Barroom is hilarious all the time. You guys have heard me say it every week. You don't need more recommendation. That being said, Nerdigans, let the people know what you've got going on, what anime is on deck, what you are looking into.
All right. So as I said, I am literally covering Boruto 2 Blue Vortex right after this. Well, I cover manga and anime on my channel, Nerdigans Inc. Every day. And in terms of bounding, I finished my articles for Gachi Yakuta and Cells at Work live action. So that's all ready to go. And I'm working on the top 10 must watch summer anime list. I have the series picked out. I just got to write everything else for it now.
Yep, that's the hard part.
Yeah. At least I have the order and everything, because that was kind of hard to figure out too.
No, I know. I've been there. My heart legitimately goes out to you.
But yeah, so I have the order set up. I'm just gonna write that up, and then there's a couple of other series that got announced. The Oshinoko live action trailer came out like right before this came out. Yeah, and also I'll run this by you. But both the Jump Plus editor-in-chief and
I saw that. That's the stuff you were talking about in the briefing room, right?
Yeah, both of them resigned. So I don't know if we want, especially Nakano. That's a big one, considering he's going to be the One Piece brand manager.
I know. Yeah,
I think that one might be worth writing. A story.
I think that's definitely something to write about, and you and I will talk. We'll get it lined out. But I think that's good. I think we got something there.
Yeah. So I'll that's already in the other in the Slack. So we'll look into that. But also make sure
you hit all that stuff when we're done.
Yeah. So follow me on Twitter right there. My Twitter handle right there. I've been posting various news stories on anime, on video games, and apparently I'm getting into a lot of trouble for my opinion too.
Well, if you're not rocking the boat, you're not doing anything right. Am I right, Nerdigans?
Yep.
So yes, definitely check out all her stuff. She is fantastic in keeping everybody appraised of just how deep all of this rot runs, who's doing what, when new things are being made. She just let me know before the show that Futo PI is getting an OVA, so she gets all of my credit for that. All right, next up is our signature VTuber, Cider. What do you got going on, amigo?
I made my own G.I. Joe. You saw it in the beginning here. Starfront.
Life.
Just want to get that line in. There we go.
Boom.
But So that's I'm just putting it together. I'm not a GI Joe guy, right? I didn't grow up with it.
Right.
I was born after it went into syndication, even. Okay, so it was done and over with, like Transformers. By the time I could count to 10, so I woke up on Monday possessed by this idea. I can't stop.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of it floating around my social media. You saw it at the beginning of the stream here. We did a little bit of a trailer at the front of it just to talk about something. And I'm going to continue working on the Starfront. If you guys are G.I. Joe people, find me on @CiderHype. Basically, any platform there is out there, that's me. And let me know like what you want out of G.I. Joe. I know vehicles are a big draw. I know cool dudes are a draw. But, you know, I don't know much about this franchise spiritually. I can watch all the live stream episodes and theme song compilations and reviews I like, but I'm not, it's not in my DNA. So I'd appreciate a hand if somebody's got an idea of like, well, this should have happened in this episode, but something else happened instead and it was super dumb. So that would be neat. But yeah, other than that, please tune in to Bounding into Comics all the time. All the time. We're going to be doing shorts about superhero trivia. That's going to be filling out some of what we do here on the channel. We'll also be uploading more interviews. You saw that with M. Night Shyamalan's daughter last week. Brett R. Smith will continue to talk about the current pop culture pitfalls that we're living through. And as you heard earlier, Jacob's got movie reviews coming for us. And boy, howdy, that glow. I saw the TV glow thing. I barely made it through the review, dude.
Fred Durst.
Like, I can't imagine them. Yeah, right? So there you go.
It should be a challenge. Like, let's see how if you can make it at least 30 minutes into the movie without tapping out. Like, this is generally like that bad.
Someday when you start getting like Patreons and stuff, Jacob, let's set up something where it's like the Society Reviews Movie Challenge 2020 100, and it's like here's like Glow, or here's like Babes. I saw the TV Glow. Joyride, like all of these films, and it's like, how long can you last watching all of these movies? Well, I want to do that.
It's rough.
It's hyper rough. But yes, check out all that stuff. Cider's got great stuff in the works, and even some stuff that we can't talk to you about yet. I'm super excited for just everything we've got in the YouTube docket. So yes, like, subscribe. You're already here. You probably already know what's going on. But yes, join us, join Cider. He's got a lot cooking. All right. As for myself, yeah, guys, we are finally here. End of the show. Another week, another stream down. Thank you to everybody who showed up tonight to hang out with us, from Eccentric Banana to Veritas to Snakes to Hey It's Me in HD to everybody else. I know DZ3 isn't here, but I'm gonna give him a special shout out because he let us know he wasn't gonna be. Yeah, and if I didn't get your name, just know that we see you, we hear you. We couldn't do all of this without you, and we are eternally thankful for all of you guys hanging out with us and letting us do that. As always, you can check out boundingintocomics.com every single day for new news stories, whether that's anime news from Nerdigans, general pop culture news from me, movie news from Jacob, video games from Ryan. We've got it all. It's always coming out. There's always something new to read, so come on down. As always, if you want to see more of us live, you can tune in same bat channel or same bat time, same bat channel next week, 9 p.m. Eastern time, for another episode of the 01 stream here at Bounding Into Comics, where who knows what disaster is going to be next week. We have more Acolyte episodes coming up, so buckle up for that. If you want to see more of me personally, you can obviously follow me on Twitter there at Kabuto Writer Mav. You can also follow me on YouTube at Studio Kabuto, on my channel every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, I guess. I host a live stream, The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. It's sort of a casual, come hang out, let's talk about, some positive things, that because, the week we have to deal with all of this all day, all throughout the week. So I try to have a space where we can all just hang out, have some laughs, talk about the things we like. If that's up your alley, I'd love to have you come hang out. But until then, I believe that is all we have for the 01 Legion tonight. Anybody else?
Okay, bye.